So down towards the south of the map in the blue, we have a big old pause.
We do have a pause. I thought it was your game.
Big old pause.
We do have a pause.
What's going on here? What's not feeling right, guys?
Yeah, it looks like the player's paused. Okay.
All right, looks like we're just setting up some hotkeys.
We're back in action now.
All right, let's go again. Towards the south of the map in the blue, we do have TheMax.
And in the... I have Liereyy in the blue, but I guess he's in the red for you. We have Liereyy playing as the Huns. Looking at his map, it's actually a decent enough map. He's got some gold that's relatively safe, not on the same side as TheMax. He has woodline options, and he has backstone as well, which is very, very nice, obviously, if your opponent decides to forward. Also has potential to wall in the middle of the map, in between those woodlines, in between those cliffs. A very, very easy wall off for him.
Looking down towards what we've got here from TheMax looking much more open towards his front. Going to make it a little bit more of an issue for him to actually wall it off. Main goal just towards the left of his town center there, along with the berries. Everything else, it looks like he's got some pretty good close resources. Off to the right, he does have this extra gold patch. Just forward a little bit further to the left, he has his secondary gold, and then a third gold as well, so making things very easy for him. However, the trouble's in the woodlines. He's got this one woodline here towards the back of the map. That's pretty much all he's really got to work with until he gets up to this one over here towards the front, which is going to be an absolute annoyance to wall.
Yeah, I think if he reads his map correctly, he's going to wall to the right-hand side of it and secure that whole area so that he can access that back big wood line in the corner.
I agree entirely.
So we can see that Lierey's actually in the blue, so you might want to hit the Alt-G. There we
Already
go.
On it.
There we go.
This.
I was right, chat.
Why did mine spawn with that? We'll never know. It's all right. There's magics of the game.
And it looks like Lierey's got 3 on wood right now, so he might be going into scouts with the Huns. And the Persians, I think, are pretty much forced into early scouts. Persians is a bit of a strange pick. We saw DauT going for it earlier on Arabia.
Persians have been getting a lot of playtime, and I'm really liking that. They've got a lot of interesting builds that have been very unique to them.
It's very strange to me because Max picked Mediterranean as one of his home maps. So you got to wonder, like, you're basically not only picking Persians, which maybe isn't the best Arabia civ, but you're also picking a civ that could be really, really good on your home map picks. So you're telling Liereyy that you're not going for that choice, right?
Exactly, and Liereyy, as we know, he's always been a very, very strong Hun player behind this as well, so it'll be interesting to see what he brings to the table and how aggressive he does to get to be behind this. I think as soon as he sees what map, like TheMax has got here, it makes a lot of sense to get aggressive with him, make it hard for him to wall off, and just be a general pain.
Yeah, and I mean, there's always the possibility he goes for the TC douche, but I don't think he's finished.
Maybe not.
I don't think we're going to see that here. I'm sure T90 and all the memers actually know the build for that, but I'm not too familiar with that, so I couldn't tell you one way or the other. It looks like he's going for scouts at the moment, though. He's already pushed in 1 deer, and now he's pushing in a 2nd deer, so he's getting pretty greedy, actually.
Behind home as well, we did actually have Liereyy steal one of the cows from TheMax, put it off. This is a tournament game. At the end of the day, everyone's here for the win. Yep. Pretty much everything's open in terms of laming. There was no boar stealing with scouts, though, just due to some mechanic changes.
And the cow's a bigger deal than the sheep because it has 50 more wood. Or 50 more food, sorry. 50 more wood. Oh, man. Okay, let's get into this. Liereyy seeing that TheMax has 3 villagers on wood, so that'll tell him that it's most likely scouts. That's an important piece of information there. Max still having trouble pushing in this deer too, and Liereyy... Well, I still think Lierey's going for scouts. We'll see how it plays out.
Look, I'd be very, very surprised if he isn't at this stage. But looking across, TheMax, like you're saying, taking this little bit of a kind of win across here, kind of wall off here for now. Hopefully, let's have a quick look at the scouting info as well, see what people have actually got to work with. We've got Liereyy kind of cruising around here at the moment, managing to get it back. Started to see, he's seen the vague kind of outline of his opponent's base, but not like a whole bunch of details at this stage. Then swapping over to TheMax, let's have a look at what
He doesn't see much. He's been pushing deer.
Oh, so very true. He hasn't even checked to see how open he is.
Yeah, he doesn't know. He can assume where Liereyy is, but he doesn't know if he's in like the top corner of the map, if he's in the right side of the map, or if he's in the middle. So if he goes to the middle, he's lucky. He'll find him right away. That'll save him some time. But it looks like he's going to go to that top edge, and that always. When you push deer, that's always the risk, right? That you're going to delay your scouting and you won't know what your enemy's going for. Like, what if Lierey's going for a drush?
What if he's going for a tower rush off the back of that as well? That's just one of those things where it's definitely a risk-reward style of strategy. Luckily, it looks like it has worked out for now. but let's see exactly how much of a difference it makes. We've got TheMax 38% of the way towards Feudal. We've got Liereyy about 26% as well.
And that's
so
that's that
close.
Persian bonus coming in right there, because you can see the villager count is even. Persians obviously with the faster working TC in the Dark Age, and then that scales up age over age. So it's actually visible on this, which I'm surprised. I thought 5% was just negligible. I thought it wasn't an important bonus whatsoever.
Definitely adds up, I think, is the big thing to take away. And as the time goes, that's where it starts to become a real advantage. Like, pretty minimal at the end of the day, but if both players are going for the same strategy, it adds up. And it looks like TheMax hasn't seen exactly. Even then, walling out here is so ambitious.
Yeah,
So
he'll do it later to secure that wood line. I like the way he's actually walled so that he has potential to take that wood line. Like, he's left himself a little bit at the back there. If Liereyy pushes him off the one at the back of his base, and now he's finding the main gold of Liereyy, so he's just now finding Lierey's base.
All right, so he knows where he needs to be headed. Liereyy just about to hit Feudal at the moment, but look at how easy his wall off speed is. He's got one wall here,
yeah, that
couple
cliff
of walls,
broken.
could have put like a house down here, and then he's fine, ready to
And he's
rock
taking
and
the
roll.
deer at the front too. It's a good thing Max didn't see that. He just missed that. Lierey's out in front of the cliff, taking deer with 3 villagers. What a ballsy play.
Let's have a look at what we've got going on. So TheMax has dropped down his stable. He's got 2 scouts in production straight away. Pretty much, I think we're going to see the identical thing here from Liereyy. Liereyy pretty much known as an absolute micro champion, so it'll be interesting to see if he can really kind of pull himself ahead with such low numbers early in the game, which is what we're used to with him.
And you can see what seeing 3 villagers on wood did for him. I mean, Persians is pretty standard with going for scouts, but he's already made a spear to defend those villagers.
Yeah,
it's a really good play from him.
Absolutely. Is not one that's exactly going to leave things to risks. I would say he definitely goes for a lot more risk-reward type of strategy when it comes down to his aggression, but he's not the kind of person who's going to leave 3 villagers out in the open and go, oh, this could happen.
Yeah, exactly. He's not MBL, you know? All right, so he's trying to wall off the right-hand side. Max is going to be a bit annoying there. I don't think he can take it. Lierey's following up with some scouts, so I don't really think that he's going to be able to kill that villager.
Ooh, some bad pathing,
no,
though.
Not going to be able to take her.
And walls off behind that one as well. We will see TheMax have to bail out of there.
So Max, Liereyy, pretty even right now, although Liereyy is going to have his base fully walled, which you can't understate how important that is, because now he can choose from a couple different builds that he wants to go for from this stage forward.
Exactly, and if he chooses to do anything a little bit different here, he's got the option to hide a lot of it as well. So it means that we can't get that kind of basic scouting information from TheMax that everyone's used to having. So we'll see exactly what Liereyy does decide to do here. Hopefully you should just kind of punish the openness of TheMax's base at this stage, dart in with those cavalry, try and get a couple of kills here and there, but it looks like TheMax is finally starting to finish off his wall-offs now.
Yeah, and look at how much more effort it takes him, right? It's taken him 3 villagers to wall this off. Liereyy was doing, I think he did that whole right side with 1 villager. So, very, very good from him. And he actually used the villagers that were walling at the front on the deer as well. I think he might actually have a hole near that cliff, though. That's difficult to tell with the cliff terrain.
That feels like a hole, right?
We'll see. There's always a hole, so we're going to see if that comes into play later on in this game. Max is now, I think, thinking about coming forward with the scouts now that his base is fully walled. Is he going to find that? Cliff terrains are always difficult, right?
It is a little bit annoying. I like to think that Liereyy would have actually kind of scanned over it with a piece of palisade to make sure. But
I think when he came back through there, he deleted 2 walls, and I think he only rebuilt
replaced
1.
one.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
All right, we do have the spears out in play for Liereyy as well, so he's looking to try and get a little bit more aggressive here, push out across the map with that spear, which of course does make a huge difference to the engagements you can take. And it looks like TheMax going to notice the scouts there. Hopefully she'll get a couple of hits in there, but Liereyy looks like he's just going to move on. And we do have the forward spear for TheMax as well.
Wolf Rush, taking care of the wolf, and now he's going to engage. This is a really awkward fight. Max has a lot less HP on his scouts, so he can't take this engagement straight up. The spears are going to fight each other, and Max is going to have to run away. Now, this is basically just giving each player time to transfer into the next unit comp or to maybe go to Castle Age. The scout fight isn't super, super important. Max is just going to run away and delay Liereyy from coming to his base.
The Spearman nearly kind of getting there. It looks like we will have Liereyy with the win. And over here towards the scouts, it looks like, again, TheMax running back to base. Doesn't want to lose any units unnecessarily, like you said. Was a little bit hard for him to kind of get the disengagement there. Did take a couple of extra hits just because of the low HP on them. But at the end of the day, right now, we're not so worried about it. He's got his walls up behind it. They're both kind of just trying to take that map control in the center, keep each other busy, and then move on from there. But as I can see there, Dave, we've got double archery coming down from Liereyy.
This is the classic Huns. You know, you're going up to Castle Age. Look at his resources. He's almost going to be going up there. He's going to make a few archers and then transfer into Cav archers once he's in Castle Age, and then he'll upgrade those few archers he's making right now into crossbows to give him a nice little early game boost. Max, on the other hand, might be a bit faster there because he's not making units at the moment, but he's going to be going for knights once he hits there as he loses those scouts up at the top of the map.
Yeah, this is very, very old style from Liereyy, and I absolutely love it. If he can get the mobility right with those cavalry archers, especially with the map we've got from Max, if he can kind of just run around the edges, just be an absolute nuisance, maybe push in through a couple of the palisades. In fact, we've actually seen double palisades over on this side.
He doesn't know. Like, he got chased away from the base with his scouts, so he doesn't know what Lierey's doing. And like you said before, Liereyy full walled his base, so he could always hide units behind, and now he's heading out with the archers. Obviously, the archers aren't going to be able to really do much damage to Max's base the way he's walled, but they'll put a little bit of pressure on him, and he's going to feel the need to get those knights out quickly to counter those.
Absolutely, and look at this. We're going to see the Max. We'll know now the archers are coming. I guess he's pretty much expecting this at this point. So moving in, we will have Liereyy try and push his way through a couple of these palisades, try and do a little bit of harassment on here, but really he's just trying to, again, keep the Max stuck at his base until he can make that cavalry archer transition, run in and just be about as annoying as you can be.
Sideways gate from Max, incoming. Yes, there it is. That was the perfect, it was like Tetris there. I could just feel it coming.
Well, look, considering how easy it is, we've only got 4 range on these archers. We've got no fletching, only just about to come in now. Obviously, Castle Age taking the preference to that, really wants the food, the gold to put towards that.
So Max has a bit better eco here. He's got 35 villagers. He's going to be to Castle Age first, but obviously doesn't have that military presence on the field yet, so Lierey's putting the pressure. I want to see whether Liereyy retreats here as soon as Max hits Castle Age. He's going to try and do some damage to that Vill, and now I think he's going to head back to his base, and or head to a different area of Max's base to try and do damage. And Max, I think, is actually coming out to the right-hand side of his base to try and drop a TC, so if he doesn't wall there in front of that, Liereyy might run around and find that, which would be a very, very nice find for Liereyy indeed.
Absolutely. We've got 3rd range starting to come up from Liereyy here as well. So we are going to see a lot of that commitment from him. We've got cavalry archers queued up. We've got Bodkin, Arrow, and
I think Lierey's going to find that TC. I think he's going to find that TC. That's big. Liereyy sending the scouts over there. That's a nice play. But Max following up with a couple knights now. Coming in from the top side, so he's going to be able to deal with those. It's just when the crossbows come here, 2 knights is not going to be enough. And I don't know if Max is going to delay a long enough time to get that TC up. I think he will.
I think he should be alright here. The knights as well, look, they've only got the +1 armor on them, so like you were saying, the crossbows will be able to clean those up with some good micro, which, look, at the end of the day, it's Liereyy right here. He's going to have possibly Max, the best micro.
Yeah, I don't think Max is really looking to engage. He was looking to delay on that TC. And that TC is actually a decent placement against crossbows. If he wants to take the gold, if he wants to take the wood, the crossbows are going to have to come under fire to get within range of those villagers, unless Liereyy loops around.
No, really well played from him. Really well played. I like this a lot. Apart from that, we've got cavalry archers finally on their way out. They've hit the map now for Liereyy. We'll be able to start kind of just abusing that movement speed they've got, really kind of get out, try and find any of these extra positions he can really punish. 3rd town center is going up in the base now for the Max as well, just on this gold. And again, like Dave was pointing out before, always towards the front of the resources, so if crossbows want to come in, they will end up in fire of the town center before they end up being able to hit the gold villagers.
Yeah, I like the way Max has set up his base a lot against this. I mean, the crossbows can't really find that much to hit at the moment, and the cav archers can't find that much to hit. The only thing Max has to worry about in the future is wood lines. If he walls the right side of his base, then his wood lines won't be exposed, but if he does not do that, Lierey's going to have potential to push in.
Let's have a look. What's Liereyy doing behind this? He's throwing up a university. He's got a second town center up. I don't believe he's got a third as of quite yet. Playing a little bit more aggressively when he went to the 3 stables. And it looks like we are going to start seeing what looks to be a little bit of an engagement here. But of course, with those knights, it's going to be so much more handy once he gets ballistics on these.
And I don't think Max wants to take this fight, because I think Liereyy has so many choke point options there with the cliff, with the trees, with everything. And he's got the mobility of the Cav Archers to delay the knights. Like, yeah, Max is just going to retreat a little bit. We can actually, I think we can take this time, try and look at the point of view of the players here. We can see we're on Lierey's point of view right now. He's basically just looking for a way to do damage to Max's economy, and then he's looking for a favorable engagement against the Knights. Max, though, pumping out a ton of Knights right now, chasing after Lierey's crossbows, not really, or sorry, Cav Archers not really going to be able to do much damage there. Shifting to TheMax. Age of Cubes.
Age of Cubes, of course. It wouldn't be a stream without one of course, Team Winland, without going in for the cubes. You've got to see that beautifulness. And at the same time here, look, he's just trying to defend against his cavalry archers as best as possible, looking for a good engagement if he can find it.
He's looking for the walls now. There we go. And now he's had to divide his attention back to Liereyy. I think he is walling that right-hand side, just like I said, which will help him later in the game. And Lierey's still trying to get a good engagement against the Knights, but I don't think he's going to find it. Max is too careful for that.
We do have bloodlines on the Cavalry Archers as well now, so they've got a lot more tanky behind that. But you can see the way Max kind of keeps spreading out. He's looking for that surround, and Lierey's just not giving it to him. Going to be a couple of good hits in here with the Knights, but again, I think he's just going to have to get out of there before he gets to trail.
That was a really good engagement for Max. He got 3 Cav Archers there. He tried to flank, but once again, he's going to have to go back. I think he's counting on the fact that he's going to have a better eco. He knows with this build that Lierey's going for. He had the 3rd TC up earlier than Liereyy did, and he's going to get the Persian TC bonus as well, which is faster working TCs, which equals a better eco.
It's huge. When we look at the village account, we've actually got 55 for Liereyy, 64 for TheMax. So TheMax really now, he just needs to make sure to take the right engagements. And like you said, he'll kind of move in, get a little bit of a surround, do the damage. As soon as he's kind of tailing after them, he's out of there. He doesn't want to commit anything extra than he has to.
I think Max has read his map perfectly. Just for the way he's walling, like, Liereyy can't do damage. And Max is just going to keep running around with these Knights. He's like, okay, I'll just boom behind this. I'll just get my eco up to where it needs to be, and I'll slowly make my way to Imperial Age.
And even then, we've got Liereyy kind of scouting out with these cavalry archers as well. Did actually deny some of the walls, which is a pretty big deal as well, so he knows this is a big section he really needs to keep control of. He keeps just flooding cavalry archers to the middle of the map as well, because really he's just kind of looking to get towards that critical mass where the Knights just can't find a reasonable engagement.
Here he comes, Max again. Oh, Max is actually making his way towards those crossbows, but smart not to engage.
I agree, just get out of there straight away, and look at that. Couple of free Knights on the way through. We do have a monk out for TheMax, so it looks like he is looking for a conversion there, but good luck.
I think the monk was more for, it might have been more for healing purposes. Yeah, you can see he's healing up the Knights inside of his base. He wants to keep as much HP on those as possible, and maybe there's a possibility of snagging relics as well. Liereyy went in the right-hand side for a raid, and I don't think he was able to do any damage, and now he's pressuring again on the front, and he's actually in with these Cav Archers.
This is where they become dangerous. It's so easy for them to just run in, duck out. The only thing you've got to be careful is they don't get trapped in there, because that's where the Knights...
That's the flip side. That is the flip side of this, and that's why Liereyy actually went back, but he's pumping so many Cav Archers right now. Max stopped, I believe he stopped making Knights for a little bit, so he just doesn't have the numbers to fight this back. He's just now getting the +2 on those Knights, which will help a lot in this engagement.
Oh yeah, that +2 is huge.
And I think he wants to loop around. I think he wants to loop around and trap these. He's got some Knights in the stable. He's got 3 Knights in the stable on the left and 2 Knights in the stable on the right.
Oh, he runs around the side here, tries to get the surround around the actual Knights themselves, manages to get a good pick on top of the crossbow. A lot of Knights go down there, and Liereyy just microing this as best as possible, trying to keep the Knights trailing as best as he can, and this is working out pretty well.
Look at the conversions coming in from Max too. I think 2 Cav Archers got converted, 3 Cav Archers got converted there, so obviously that's 3 less for Liereyy. The Knight's doing work, but I don't think it's enough.
Exactly, Lierey's positioning here. The Knights just can't get a full surround on top of them at the moment. We've got how many Cav Archers still here? We've got 2 from TheMax. Knight-wise, we've only got 5 left,
Yeah,
however.
but there's 2 more Knights coming out, and they are +2, so I think Max took a pretty good engagement there against Liereyy, considering Liereyy was focusing more on military, less on economy,
Exactly.
and he was pumping up those numbers, and Max behind this has an excellent boom. I mean, he's got 88 villagers to Lierey's 76, so...
It's just going to be so much easier for the Max to re-pop up behind this compared to Liereyy, so taking that engagement there, again, just getting himself time and being able to push that economy bonus, I guess, for the second time, works out really well for him.
Yeah. Liereyy, actually, I see a monastery from Liereyy, so is it possible? Is it possible that Lierey's actually going to go for relics? I've never seen this before.
All right, we do have a market getting thrown up from Liereyy as well, and an extra barracks as well. Looks like he's got a little bit of an idea of what he wants to go for. Get the pikes up behind this one, use it as a bit of a meat shield at the front, get that kind of in good trades, and then, of course, keep the cavalry archers behind it.
And you can see he's already on the way to Imperial Age. So you know what Persians are going to go for. They're going to go for Cavalier initially, and then maybe into the trash bows. The Knights from Max trying to get into Lierey's base. Liereyy with the quick wall gates. Very, very nice play there. Those Knights could have been super annoying in that backwood line. But he does see the villagers coming from that gold.
Is always going to try and push that advantage as much as he can. Max isn't one to give up any kind of ground. Liereyy at the same time, though, clearing most of this up pretty easily. Numbers at the moment, 24 military for Liereyy, 17 for the Max. Villager count, though, is where we start to see the real difference at the moment. 80 for Liereyy, 100 for the Max.
And Max actually at the front of his base, he's making some camels now, mixing them in. Actually making an outpost, which we've seen throughout this entire tournament. I've casted every single Max game so far. Well... And every single game, he's playing super safe. He wants that line of sight wherever possible. You can see an outpost on the right-hand side again. Liereyy trying to make his way to the middle of the map once again. I think he's dropping a siege workshop to supplement his push. And he's going to be in Imperial Age pretty soon, but Max has clicked up as well. And obviously, faster working TC for him, so he's not going to be too far behind Liereyy.
Alright, so we've got the extra armor coming down on top of the pikeman, cavalry archer to boot this as well. Then he just wants to get his siege, like you said, to complement out and round out this force. And then it's pretty much going to be game on for Liereyy. He's just here to try and take out the Max before he can kind of get overrun in terms of the economy, in terms of the units he's got there. Max, though, doing a great job to scout out, like you were saying. A little bit ambitious with his outpost over here, but... Here we go. Looks like Lierey's getting ready for his push.
Yeah, and Max is actually trying to drop a TC on the left-hand side. That is going to go up. And remember, extra HP on Persian TCs, they're super difficult to take down. I love the way that Max has crafted his base. He's made it so defendable against everything that Lierey's making so far. We'll see how that changes in Imperial with different unit options for Liereyy. But from the beginning of the game till now, Max has just built up his base to a perfectly defensible situation.
We've got Liereyy taking into capped ram as well, so really trying to want to make a push through the middle here, knock out a bunch of this production, because the thing is he does have control here, he just really doesn't have a way to kind of knock down these buildings and start to really make it hurt for the Max. Because looking over here, the Max can kind of just hide behind his TCs, like you were saying. They're 4,800 HP, being Persians, are extremely strong, and look at this, we've got more outposts coming up.
Said, no, stop him. He knew. One villager's not enough. No, he's got to send two. You split them, right? You diverge halfway there. And Liereyy finally taking down that palisade gate that Max had dropped earlier in the game. I don't know if he can push in here. Max is going for the archer ranges now. He's already got the castle up. He's going to go for that unique tech, get the trash bows out to supplement his cavalry. And heavy camel actually coming in from the Max as well.
I'm liking this position of the Max right now, as long as he can push this back. But look at this.
As long as he doesn't lose his numbers,
look at this literal positioning from Liereyy right now.
It's a weird position because Max has to stop him pushing in, but Liereyy can't push in.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's the stoppable force versus the movable object, right?
Exactly. And the Max has done a really good job at taking map control around all these edges, kind of isolating everywhere he can, taking the resources. Even has a castle up over this extra gold here as well, so making sure he's not going to lose that one. But at the same time, Liereyy has all the actual literal momentum when it comes down to actually keeping the map control.
And Liereyy is actually going to push in with these pikes, try and kill this house here, and then make his way into the right side of the base. I believe Max has a mangonel. He's going to try and defend that situation. Liereyy with halberdier research on the way as well, which is going to be so effective against the composition of Max currently, but not effective once Max gets these crossbows out. and into the fight.
It's basically still a time game for the Max. The longer this match goes at this stage, the better position he starts to be in. That eco really starts to drive into overdrive. He gets those crossbows out from there, so he can start dealing with those pikes a lot more effectively. And Liereyy still just struggling to find somewhere to really push. He's dealing damage at the front with the cap ram, so starting to knock out some of that production, but he can't just run in yet.
Well, one possible downside for Max, obviously, is that this base is very thin. Like, if Liereyy pushes in just a little bit, he's going to have to evacuate the entire situation, and he actually has a castle going down on that right-hand side, but he needs another castle somewhere in the front side here. He also needs to start securing those neutral golds. So there's one on the left, there's one on the right. He needs to build something to stop Liereyy from taking control of those.
Agreed entirely. And it's one of those things where, as this kind of starts to approach late game further and further, that's where the map control really starts to come into it.
And you can see Liereyy, like Leary's making stone walls in the middle of the map. He's just securing his base as much as possible. He's focusing all his energy on the middle here because he knows if he splits Max's base, Max is going to have to fight him from two sides. So
and that's just not going to happen when you've got this big mobile death bowl, essentially, of the Hun army at the moment. Cap Ram starting to knock out all of the buildings as best as possible, and then behind this as well, the damage is really starting to stick up.
Yeah, neither player really wants to take an engagement right here. They're just building up. They're building up to their ideal composition. We can see more Cav Archers coming in from Liereyy, Chemistry now coming in from the Max, Conscription coming in from the Max, trying to get those crossbow numbers up. Not sure he has enough melee yet to complete the composition.
This is just insane how well. This has been such an elegant dance by both teams now. They're both looking for that perfect engagement sake. Neither are wanting to commit, because whoever really wins this engagement is pretty much going to take the game. Yeah,
and Max probably needs more stables as well. He's getting one ram down. Isn't really producing the melee units he needs in front of those crossbows. It's good that they cost only wood, but they're really, really weak. As Liereyy comes in the right-hand side, Max was trying to wall there, but he's not going to finish it, and Leary's actually going to secure that neutral gold with a castle. That's the correct play, and he's going to be into this wood line. We said before that wood lines potentially were the weakness for the Max, and he didn't wall off this side of his base early enough, in my opinion.
I agree. I just couldn't. It was just such a big thing. He definitely tried to get it down a couple of times, but Liereyy was just everywhere with those cavalry archers. He was stopping any kind of walling he could. He's been just being so annoying behind all of this that is really showing how good he is in terms of the APM, in terms of actually being efficient with his movements as well.
And Leary's bringing the halberdiers now to supplement this, so he can just hit these cav. He can run away. And then wait for the halberdiers, and that castle is 100% going up. But Max with forward buildings as well in the top corner. He's got some stables going down, so he's planning the raids. Let's go back to the fight with Liereyy, and the Max is just retreating, waiting for his crossbows to get into the action. The crossbows, obviously, without bracers, so subpar compared to the cav archers, but they're so cheap. They only cost wood.
The Max just throwing away such a big chunk of his army there as well. The crossbows, like you said, so cheap here, but he just lost pretty much all of his gold units in one hit. Liereyy really looking forward to kind of pushing forward, ending this one, bringing the crossbow numbers right down. Lots of villagers going down behind this one as well. And the Max even bringing more villagers to the lumber camps behind this one. I think it's going to be a little bit too much for Liereyy to push into this bulk of crossbows.
I mean, Liereyy lost his halbs now. Max has Cavalier. And Liereyy recognizes that he can't fight the crossbows and a melee unit, so he's going to retreat a little bit. On the front side, it looks like he's walled off completely. Liereyy taking map control on the front here. And what was that I just saw on your screen?
What you're seeing is the Max putting up a castle over this neutral gold, and it looks like Liereyy had the exact same idea.
From Liereyy, these two players know exactly where to prioritize on the map at any given point. Liereyy even sending a halberdier over there, which could be pretty annoying. He's also following up with an army. Could that castle be denied on the left-hand side?
Too close now at this point, I think, in terms of the construction overall. It's a good play, but I don't think it's going to happen. Still considering to raid in through this right-hand side here. He's got the bulk of his front army towards the front here, though, so it's really going to be one of those all sides, all raiding. Find a way to deal with this, Max, and you can have the game, but good luck.
Yeah, and I love what Max is doing with his forward base as well. He's just building up units, and he's going to go for a push. That's what you have to do when you're going for a ram push. You have to wait for a couple of them, you have to wait for a couple follow-up units, and then bust into his base and do a ton of damage.
The Max just queuing up so much Cavalier behind this as well. We'll be in a reasonably good position to start just tanking some of those shots as well. With the Cavalry Archer numbers at the moment, we've got 34 sitting here. They're so mobile, and the thing is, if you can just get them into that trail, which is the same situation we had down over here, it's just so easy to take some easy wins and then just back up out of there.
This is a dance here, isn't it? All about map control, and we can see Liereyy coming in on the right-hand side to that wood again. Max has some crossbows there, but they're slightly out of position. I don't think Liereyy can push in much past this TC. He does have heavy cavalry archer now, though, so he can take some fire. And he's definitely going to perform better against the crossbows, but I don't think he can fight against that amount of cavalier and the crossbows at the same time.
I agree entirely. We've got the Max looking down for this right side here, or the left side I should say. Liereyy again just taking more and more map control, realizing as the game goes on further, this is something we saw in the last series as well, putting down those castles, securing that extra resource, especially while you're on a hill, it makes a huge difference in terms of the way you can actually play this out. But so, here comes the ram push you were talking about.
Yeah, and he's only got 2 rams, and they're only battering rams, which is takes a little bit of time to get into the walls, but I think he's going to actually access the wall here. But Liereyy, I think he has Hussar now. Yes, he's sending Hussar over to deal with that ram push on the right-hand corner, and that's going to be denied right away. None of Max's follow-up units are going to get in there. Meanwhile, Liereyy also taking a good engagement against the crossbows.
Liereyy is just absolutely everywhere he needs to be right now. The Max is struggling. We've even got Halbs in the wood line. I know it doesn't sound like the most annoying thing in the world, but it's enough to keep you back. We've even got a huge amount of idle crossbows here. The Max just not sure what to do with them right now. We've even got Liereyy just keeping adding villagers behind this as well. So the villager count, he's actually in front now, 128 compared to 108.
And on the left-hand side as well, battle between those 2 castles. We see Liereyy coming over with Cav Archers, repairing his castle against 3 Trebs. I think Max accidentally unpacked his Trebs there, a bit of a misclick. Which is pretty unfortunate. He's gonna, unpack them again, attack the castle, and come over with the Cavalier. Doing pretty good with those Cavalier.
I agree, he's on top of it. He's got the hill bonus here as well, so he is fighting down it, so they will take a little bit more to kill. And I'm going to say this castle at the moment, probably gone out, repairing the 3 trebuchets.
It is deceased.
Good luck.
Yep. But Liereyy clearing up that forward from Max. Max has actually made a monastery there, and he's going to take that relic in the right-hand corner. We can see Hussars coming in from Liereyy into the woodline of the Max.
Doing a great job with the raiding here. Of course, the crossbowmen there doing what they can, but at this stage, the 2+4 armor going to make these Hussars really hard to deal with if they just split up and run through the base. But it looks like Liereyy actually taking the engagement here, wants the fight.
Yeah, I think he can take it. I mean, the crossbows... He's not going to win it, but he can kill some crossbows. He can be annoying. He can delay him a little bit. I mean, the crossbows only have 5+3, right?
Yeah.
So you're really going to struggle against any Imperial upgraded units. On the left-hand side as well, Max tried to go for some buildings for the raids, some more archer ranges to pump in those crossbows into maybe Lierey's economy. That's not going to happen. Liereyy denying that with 1 halberdier. And now Liereyy pushing down through the middle again. This has just been constant. Every time Liereyy encounters a force that he can't beat on either side, he comes back to this middle area. When he encounters a force he can't beat in the middle, he goes to the other side.
And that's the mobility of the Huns really starting to show off. You can really choose where you want to take the engagements. You can take those little picks, do what damage you can. If you can't find an engagement you like, move out of there, find another one.
Yep. And Max slowly expanding his eco, but so is Liereyy. You can see blue all over this side of the map, and Max, the red player, all over this side of the map as well. Paladin now in from the Max, but he doesn't have the numbers yet.
We do have Siege Ram coming down here from Liereyy as well. Lierey's starting to look like he really wants to go for this one. Really needs to kind of find a place where he can do some damage, hold it, and then push the position. Siege Ram, of course, going to be great for cutting through those buildings, giving a huge amount of bulk to the extra HP of his army as well.
I'm wondering if Max has the res to sustain Paladin. Like, you got to build up a huge army of it. And the way Lierey's built his walls as well, he can just camp his Cav Archers behind the walls. The Paladins aren't going to be able to do anything. Max needs some sort of siege to break that down. Ideally with Paladins, where you want to be fighting is an open field, right?
Yeah, the Max at the moment is such low gold, literally sitting on under 100. It looks like he's only got relic gold income at the moment. We did see a really good play over by Liereyy towards his side base as well. A couple of Siege Rams moving in, a couple of Hussars, Cavalry Archer.
With Paladin now and 3 stables, maybe he can push this back and be super annoying to Liereyy. You can see he grabbed that relic, put it in the monastery, just delaying a little bit.
It's a little thing.
Yeah, just delaying a little bit. We'll see how many relics Max actually has 4 relics with that one included now. So Liereyy only has 1, so if he's going late game with the trash bows, he's not spending gold on anything else, maybe he can sustain the Paladin production.
We do see that wood line again. getting raided by these cavalries until we can see some consistent walls or something from the Max here. There's nothing he can really do to deal with it. In fact, we've got those siege rams there as well. Lierey's just going to keep breaking in and keep doing damage.
But Liereyy has no help, so he's going to have to go back. Every time the Paladin come in with the trash bows behind, he's going to have to go back. Until he gets helps to support this push, he can't really take a fight. Once again, delaying Max, right?
Exactly. The Max has had no chance to really get a full army together and move out against Liereyy, which is the real big problem he's running into here. We do have a quick pause from the players by the looks of things as well. Just jumping around to kind of show the map. I know I've been jumping around a lot in terms of the actual map here itself and what you can see, but there is so much going on at the moment. It's important to see everything here. We do have the base on the right-hand side here getting cleared out by the Max.
And Liereyy on the top corner actually making a couple stables. So this is the correct play as Hun's late game. You see MBL do this all the time. He'll make stables everywhere and just pump Hussars into the enemy eco. Right now, I think Max needs to focus on the right-hand side, push that back, make some walls there. Eventually, it's been his struggle for the entire time. Like every time he wants to focus somewhere else, Lierey's back again. And somehow figure out a way to take down that castle as well.
That's the big bit right now. He just wants to secure this location, but Lierey's given him no option. Every chance he gets to kind of start rebuilding in there, boom, 50 cavalry archers roll in and just annihilate everything there. And I guess the other thing to kind of take away from here at the moment as well is like the wood counts. We just have the Hussars in the back here as well, trying to do as much damage as they can, kill off all the lumberjacks, and it's one of those things where you can just start slowly starving the Max to death. If we swap over, Liereyy as well, super low gold count, but he does have quite a lot of food, quite a lot of wood in the bank, nearly enough stone for another castle as well, but I think we're starting to get really low in terms of resources left on the map now as well.
I love the military count too, because you would think going Paladin, Max's military count would be lower, but of course, with those crossbows that only cost wood, they're just a crazy, crazy unit. It's a crazy tech that we now have.
And it looks like the players are getting some help there from Mr. Overlay himself.
Yep.
Hopefully it shouldn't be too much longer, guys. But just checking this out as well, something else we were talking about earlier on. Liereyy just dropped all these random walls in the middle of the map, just taking the full control.
It was good.
Because the thing is, like you pointed out earlier as well, all he needs to do is run all of his, basically, cavalry archers behind that whenever there's an engagement he doesn't like. The paladins can't get through, and they just have to back off straight away.
Yeah, if you have a bunch of cavalry archers, no melee unit is going to engage past that gate. And I'd actually like to see Liereyy extend those walls out to the corner of the map, but I don't think it's going to happen at the moment because Max has units on all along that left-hand side. And Liereyy still needs to clean up that forward from Max on the right. Although he's well on his way to doing that.
Well, I think that's pretty much done at this point. There's a siege ram there. I think there's enough units that he should be able to hold this one down. Because I think that at this point, the Max is kind of just pumping everything he's got into his main army bulk.
Well, actually, Max could still... I think Max could still save that. If he produces a couple paladins, he has some crossbows in that range. If he makes some from there and kills the Halbs, he could keep this alive and be super, super annoying, because Liereyy has to keep shifting his focus back here, and you saved the relic as well. So
very true. That relic at the moment is probably actually the biggest thing about this forward base. If he holds on to that, he'll be in such a better position. And we're back into the game here now as well. What have we got?
Another long one, eh?
Another long one.
Oh my god.
I would rather them be long, great matches than boring, slow matches that just kind of end at like 20, 30 minutes.
Yep, and we can see Liereyy now building up a ton of siege rams, dude. He's going for the push. He is going for the push, and he's dropping a ton of barracks as well. Tons of halberdiers coming out to counter those paladins. Obviously, the crossbows from the Max counter the halberdiers pretty well. But if Liereyy can build up enough army, I think he can push back this force from Max on the right-hand side. Max, though, on the left-hand side, into the wood line. That's a lot of villagers. And that's the relic from Liereyy.
This is actually insane. You're right. This is a good percentage of Lierey's economy here. He's got crossbows there, so they can't even get away. Paladins over towards the top of it, and this is where he's storing his relic. This hurts.
Could this be a heist? That's the relic, man. That's Lierey's only gold income at the moment. Oh, he's got two piles on the right-hand side. And Max is actually trying to tread down that castle in that right-hand position near his base. Lierey's also coming in with some more halberdiers. to a little bit to the left of that, and the Paladins have to back off. And Lierey's coming in with the Rams now at the front. He's kind of dividing his forces, but I don't know if I agree with this, because that's a lot of gold costs on those Rams.
It is a lot of gold cost, and a lot of them are just getting killed off so easily. Max is starting to look like he's in a really good position here. He's finally brought down the village account of Liereyy, where the Max actually has more in play. But look at this, we're seeing Halberdiers just running into the bases. We're seeing just Paladins running back across the map into the safety of their castle. The Max is doing a really good job here.
But Liereyy not giving up the pressure. Like, Lierey's played this amazingly well. He's kept Max at his own base for 90% of the game. And that's no mean feat, especially when Max was ahead in eco.
Absolutely, and the fact is just being able to lock down so many of these situations as well. Like, this Trebuchet is staying up at the moment for the Max as well. Not something exactly you want, but he's repairing the castle. Rams are starting to make their way through, and it looks like he has started to clean up most of the raiding at the moment. From the Max, however, Liereyy, he just needs to find a place to push at the moment. That's where he's struggling.
Yeah, both players with so many units queued up at the moment. Like, they're just trying to gain the smallest little edge in map control. You see Max trying to drop stables even at the top corner. Liereyy coming in now with a huge army of Cav Archer. He's done so well to keep those alive. I don't think he's lost a Cav Archer in... Well, maybe he's lost like 5 in the last 5 minutes.
I know. He's just so good in terms of his efficiency in his trades. If it's not going to work out for him for the better, he just kind of leaves it, which is fantastic, especially for his numbers here. Hussar's moving in from the raiding through the left-hand side there. We do have the Cavalry Archer split directly down the middle here. However, Hussar crossbow to fight that one. We even do have a fight happening over towards the castle here on the side as well. Looks like the Trebuchet will be taken down finally. The castle, though, has stayed up this entire time.
Yeah, that castle, it's pretty easy to defend if you only have one Treb shooting from downhill, and now that Treb is going to die, and will Max have anything to defend against that push, especially with the Rams? He's running pretty low on Paladin numbers. He's getting them whittled down one by one, and when I look at his gold, he's got 500, so he still has, there's still possibilities, and he's got enough stone for a castle if he wants to secure another area of the map.
I think the biggest problem we're seeing here is the fact that Max is going for so many raiding attempts, and they just get closed down so quickly by Liereyy.
Yeah.
The Cavalry Archers have just been absolutely everywhere. We've got some Paladins moving in from around the side here now as well, but I don't think they're really going to be able to do too much against this, because Liereyy, if he just doesn't like the engagement, he's just going to bail.
And Max actually trying to loop around, I think, behind those Cav Archers, but look on the right-hand side. Oh my god, that is a gigantic army coming in from Liereyy. Mostly Halberdiers, but those Siege Rams are going to do work against those buildings, and Max doesn't have enough crossbows right now to counter this. Maybe he does under the TC.
Then on the front as well, we've got another push here as well. Siege Rams backed by Cavalry Archers, bit of health bulk in the front there as well. This is all just about restricting the Max. Even if he doesn't win this fight, he just pushes the Max closer and closer into that corner where he's not going to be able to build up. He's not going to be able to keep his eco together. But military-wise, we are looking at still so even. 76 to 71, Villager 100 to 111.
It's like slowly grinding him down. It's like the waves against the rocks, right?
Exactly.
Slowly grinding him down. Hussar raids keep coming in on every angle. The Halberdiers are in the back of his base. The Rams are pushing in the front. Still has that clump of Cav Archers as well. Max, he's just not mobile enough, I don't think, to hit Liereyy the way Liereyy is hitting him. And now you're really starting to see the effect of these raids.
It's just making so much of a difference here. And the fact that Liereyy has all these walls up as well, the Max just has nowhere to raid, nowhere to try and get in and do the damage. And the Max is ahead in the villager count right now, but for how long kind of thing, and he's about to start losing his production. So this is where it starts to become an issue where he can't actually pop up to the numbers he needs, because he just doesn't have the actual time to do it.
I love the fact that Max is targeting those Cav Archers with his Trebs. He's like, these are your only gold units. My melee can kill your Rams, but I'm coming after your Cav Archers. They've been a nuisance for too long. I'm going to take care of those. Liereyy now realizing, actually microing the Cav Archers in the middle of this fight, and he's still killing units on the right side of Max's base. This has just been a constant annoyance for Max.
The thing I'm seeing here, though, is the Max is staying relatively popped up here. He's at 176, and it's starting to kind of decline a lot quicker now. We've got Liereyy only at about 150 at the moment. Villager count is pretty much completely even, but just look at all of the just space he's kind of rescued here, I guess. He's just liberated all of this farming land at the moment from the Max, and it makes it so hard for him to actually have that resource to push in. He's only got 150 food in the bank, 130 gold, next to nothing left to start keeping his numbers up. But Liereyy down to 140 pop as well. He's just throwing so much of his army into this.
Yeah, and Max actually starting some raids on the top side as well. He's going to be taking out villagers from Liereyy with crossbows and hussars, so if he gets into those resources, he can start sniping the villagers. And Lierey's being pushed back now. Those paladins are such a strong unit. As soon as Liereyy lost the numbers in that fight, the paladins swooped in and there was nothing he could do. And suddenly he's only got 4 or 5 cav archers. He's trying to build up some more behind, but he doesn't have that gigantic clump anymore.
And this is exactly the opportunity TheMax is kind of looking for here. He's whittling down those numbers. He knows he has the stronger unit here as well if he can really go for it. So it's just a matter of keeping Liereyy down in terms of his population, trying to keep his own up, and then really just going for the final blow whenever he can find it. We've got 187 population for TheMax, 129 for Liereyy. Liereyy just struggling at the moment to get his pop back up.
Yeah. What did we say at the beginning of the series? We'd like to see good, quick games. This one's grinding along here, but it is a fantastic game. We've got some hussars now from TheMax in the farming eco from Liereyy. I think a villager opened that gate and let them in, so that's going to be really distracting and unfortunate for Liereyy as he sends in a hussar raid of his own on the right-hand side. Max, wisely, no villagers over here anymore.
He's learned his lesson a couple of times
no trees
now.
for you. No trees for you. He's not going to bring villagers over to that side until it's completely secure. I mean, he must have lost like 100 villagers throughout the course of the game over there. And he's kind of got Liereyy boxed in now. It's the tides have turned in this game. He's got him into his little cube that Liereyy made for himself.
He has. He's got the walls around it, I guess, which is nice. But at the same time, he just can't push out of it. We had that Hussar rating in the back, like you were saying. It's keeping Lierey's villager count quite low. He's still struggling to pop up. He's still only about 150, whereas TheMax is just sitting on 200 constantly.
Yeah, and TheMax, what he did on the left-hand side of the map where all that wood is, where the gold was and everything, he's made 3 castles over there. Like, he's secured it completely so that he has a constant wood eco to sustain the crossbows coming out. And now he's actually dropping forward siege workshops on the top of Lierey's base and a stable as well. So he's gonna start pushing him with hussars, rams, crossbows. It's gonna be deadly for Liereyy.
Liereyy finally starting to get that pop back up as well. He's in for the raids too. And like you said, we do have the siege workshops coming up on the side here, the stables, but they still need to accomplish something. A lot of this is just walled off very, very heavily. And Liereyy just looking for somewhere to raid right now. And it's becoming harder and harder for him to find anywhere to actually do some damage.
Yeah, and he has no gold, right? So he can't really produce those power units. Basically, he's hoping to catch Max off guard, to raid his eco, to slowly whittle down his villager count. But instead, I think Max is doing that to Liereyy. Lierey's villager count now at 105, and Max, who was at 100 at one moment, I believe, he's at 120 back again.
Man, it makes such a difference here just in terms of the way they're playing this out. Lierey's just looking for all those opportunities he can find right now, and it's just a constant tug of war between these two players. Whoever controls the bulk of the resources at this point, which is basically just trees and or land to build farms on, is just getting so far ahead, but either of them just keep switching in terms of the situation they're in.
Yeah, and Liereyy, knowing that the problem area is going to be on the top side of the map, he actually lost that relic, so he doesn't even have a single relic in his possession. Oh, he might have gotten the one. Okay, got the one that Max had taken earlier, but there's a relic available at the top of the map, so we'll see if Max decides to go for that one as Liereyy pushes back a little bit against that forward, but I think Max can clear him up there.
I agree. It's one of those things where this is getting so hard for them to deal with. Liereyy, again, struggling around the 160 pop mark to really get back up. TheMax still sitting over 190, huge queue of units there, and actually repopping a lot of his villages behind this as well, realizing he needs more of this to kind of keep his economy up, so that way he can really push with his eco and get those units out that he needs so desperately. We have a trebuchet out on the other side of the map as well.
Yeah, that's big. As soon as that castle goes down, look at that entire side of the map is just open. He can raid as much as he likes as soon as that goes down. And he's holding against Liereyy at the top side, although Liereyy actually making a few more, I think selling some resources to get a few more heavy cav archers and to get 3 trebs of his own. So he's going to start taking down those buildings. Maybe go for that castle, although I think that's a pretty risky play with those trebs. If you go a little bit south of where you're looking right now at the top side.
But yeah, that's a big ask right now. 3 trebs. Good news is he's got lots of helps there to help deal with this one as well. So there shouldn't just be an easy push on top of it. So as long as he kind of holds these trebs and doesn't lose them, because that's a huge gold investment.
Oh, that's a massive gold investment. I was looking at the units queued up and I'm thinking, how is he doing that? But I guess he sold resources for that. And now he's making skirms.
Not even elite skirms.
He's making skirms, which will be fine against the crossbows, but
the Hussar rating, however, not so easy to deal with.
Yeah. And he managed to snipe that Treb. That's a great snipe from Liereyy. Managed to snipe that Treb on the right-hand side, and his Trebs on the top. Are they gonna die? I don't think so. I think he's gonna save them.
There's too many helps. There's too much bulk here to really stop any of these Hussars from getting on top of them.
Max doesn't have the mass. He doesn't have the massive units to defend against this, so great prioritization from Liereyy there. Knew he could snipe the Treb on the south, so he wasn't so much worried about that push, and then push forward with it. At this point in the game, it's a huge gold investment to take out that castle on the hill from Max.
Oh, it'll just be such a big deal. If he can, the thing is, one of them just needs to open some kind of raiding corridor that they can get into. Right now, the base is just structured so well, and the unit production's coming from everywhere. If they can kind of just chip away and find one way in to be able to deal with this one, get on top of the economy, it'll really set the game on a completely different path. But right now, it just feels like both players can go forever.
Yeah. Sorry, chat. The Viper set looks like it's going to be starting on Thursday.
Morning.
Yeah, exactly. This is crazy. This is game number 1. As neither player just wants to give any ground at all. And Lierey's going to take that castle down, maybe? There's 3 Trebs, but they're firing up the hill. There's quite a few villagers repairing.
Oh, he's starting to really eat away at this bulk that's protecting the trebuchets as well, though. Large group of Hussars coming in looking for it at the moment. The crossbows cutting down those helps relatively quickly, but again, there's just more reinforcements coming from Liereyy.
Max is running out of stone. Max is running out of stone to repair. The Hussars aren't doing too much damage against the Trebs. I think this castle's going to go down, and this whole side of the map is going to be open now.
It's only a couple of 100 HP left on there, and like you said, the Max just has no way to really push it on top of this.
He's still repairing it. How is he still repairing it? He's buying stone. He's literally
80.
buying stone when there's no gold anywhere on this map. He's like, this is way too important. I'm just going to buy stone. Okay.
And look at that.
He has to go back.
He's bailing.
He's going back. Max with the plays.
What are you doing, you absolute madman? He manages to keep the castle up, keeps all this eco safe behind it. What an absolute legend.
What a unit. What a unit this guy is. And he's actually pushed in to Lierey's base as well. He's gotten rid of that gate, so now he has easy access to the farming eco from Liereyy. And he's got helps in there, which is going to be real annoying.
Oh, it's just a matter of cleaning up. Look at this, just runs to the fields in the back, makes it a huge issue.
Yep.
And on top of this, well, Liereyy just trying to find somewhere to keep pushing this one at the moment, but if the villager count starts to dwindle, that's where he just can't pop back up again, and that's where Lierey's already been having the problems in this matchup as well. He just hasn't been able to keep that consistent population versus the Max. Is just always seems to be on the edge of 190, 200.
Yeah, and Max is preparing a ram raid as well on that castle on the right-hand side. Constant pain in his rear end this entire game, that castle in that position. But Liereyy, he's just not giving up.
That's it. It's definitely not over as of yet. There's a couple of big factors that really need to come in here, and I think losing that castle on the right is one of them. And Liereyy just, again, unpacking these Trebs, just trying to clear up some of these buildings and just trying to get rid of some of that production from the Max. But the Max, again, actually still popping back up.
So where's Liereyy going to take wood here? He's got some wood on the right-hand side. He's got some wood in the back. But if Max recognizes the fact that he's in a few minutes when he's getting low, if Max recognizes that, he can basically deny all the other wood lines on the map for Liereyy.
The Max has just kind of crept out everywhere now. He's got a little base everywhere. He's got units flooding from everywhere. And like you said, it's sooner or later the wood for the Liereyy will just run out.
Yeah, but I hope we're not getting to that point. It's going to be pretty late here if we get to the point where we're running out of wood on Arabia. Let's look at the villager count right now. We've got 111 for Liereyy, so he's made his way back. 115 for Max. He's more or less stayed stable over the last 10-15 minutes. The resource count, Lierey's resources looking really good. Got a ton of food. 75 farmers, actually, for Liereyy. And Max is only at 59, but he doesn't really need them because he's making the crossbows, so 59 is enough.
Again, the problem as well, though, we're looking at Liereyy, still in around that 163 pop. Max still like 198.
Yeah, but Lierey's pulled the, remember those 3 Trebs? Do you remember those that bailed over there? Look on the other side of the map. He's gone for a trek. He's gone for a trek, all right?
And this is what I'm saying, it's like the cavalry archers. You get so much efficiency out of his units.
Yeah, as soon as he saw that there was a chance he wasn't going to push up that hill to that castle. He was like, no, bringing him back. Bringing him back, baby.
We've got the Max continuing to push him with all these crossbows as well. Those crossbows have just been doing absolute wonders at the moment for the Max as well.
Yeah, this is a stalemate, though, because as soon as those crossbows come up against the skirms, they're really, really going to struggle, and there's no way that Max is going to push against that. The Trebs unpacking against the Siege Workshops from the Max, and there's melee units in front of that, so he can't really go for the Trebs with the Siege Rams. He's gonna
no, the Siege
maybe
Rams. They're just so expensive at this point in the game as well.
Yeah, and we look at the relic count. Liereyy did, I believe he did grab that relic from the top. I don't see it.
Did he hide it?
I tell you what, I'll look for the relic.
Done. I'll keep an eye on the game in terms of what's going on. Liereyy pushing in through this right-hand side now, finally taking out those Siege Workshops. Pretty much back in the Max's danger zone here. Good news is still doesn't have any villagers around here. He knows how much of an issue it has been to hold on there. Towards the middle of the map, we've just seen just small rogue forces running into each other, just continuing to bombard. However, again, Halberdiers, we've got the Rams trying to push into Leerey's economy, and just no player at the moment is really giving up either ground. We've got huge amounts of population for both players still, and somehow they still have resources and units, guys.
I'm afraid to say that Operation Find the Relic has failed.
No.
There is a missing relic. There's a missing relic somewhere. Max has 3, and Liereyy has 1, as far as I can tell. So, well, we'll see. We'll see if we can find it eventually. Max pushing again on that top side. He really wants to get through that gate. Liereyy keeps rebuilding the gate. And now it's down again. We'll see if he rebuilds it once more. Max does have Siege Rams here. He has Hussar, he has Crossbow. So this is a good composition, but on the right-hand side, like you just showed there, the Trebs from Liereyy doing work against the production buildings from the Max, and he's taking back control. That's another wood line in the south corner if Liereyy takes control of this area of the map. So
that's actually exactly what I was looking at on the map. I was trying to figure out what he's still controlled in terms of the wood. We've got this one up here towards the north, this one here, but that's pretty much about it.
Roughly translates to another 25 minutes of our time. That wood line, if he secures that area of the map. I'd love to see Max just finally push into this farming eco from Liereyy. It's so open in there, and if he can push him off all these farms, it's going to be a big deal. I don't think Lierey's going to allow him to do that, though, with the trash units coming out. It's just so stalemate-y, right?
Even then, though, I feel like the Max is the one who's getting somewhere, though, because he's slowly getting into the eco. All this eco that Lierey's getting into, this has been long abandoned. He knew it was an issue, so he's just kind of relocated it.
Max was heading across the map with a relic. Max has 4 relics now. It was a relic heist from that top corner of the map, so maybe potentially he can start pumping out Paladins again. If he gets a big ball of Paladins, he can push in, clear up the Trebs, clear up the army from Liereyy, maybe take out that farming eco. He's starting to push in now.
This is it. Look at this. I actually don't know if there's enough units right here from Liereyy to actually deal with this one. We've got all this production right behind as well, so the Max is just continually repopping behind this. So many crossbows, but at the same time, Lierey's starting to really push into the Max's base. He's got those trebuchets, so he'll be able to deal with this castle pretty quickly.
I don't think he wants to go forward with those, though. It's just such an investment. You know, you can see he's already pulled them back. They're like in the middle of his base. They're just big chilling in the middle of his base. He just doesn't want to waste that gold, doesn't want to push against that castle. And meanwhile, Max pushing into that eco, and he's dropped more Siege Workshops, and he's got the gold with the 4 relics to go for Siege Rams.
I absolutely love this. The Max has been unrelenting this entire game. Lierey's put up such a good fight, but the population again starting to dwindle a little bit behind this. His eco in a little bit of an issue here. We're seeing a lot of this farmland has just been absolutely ruined.
Yeah, now Lierey's spamming the Trebs, or sorry, the Skirmishers in here. Max doesn't have enough Hussar to deal with those. Well, is he going to get pushed back again? He's going to get pushed back again.
He absolutely is. This has just been such a rock, paper, scissors. Like, oh, I've got enough crossbows to push in here. All right, you killed off my pals.
Yeah.
Here come the Skirmishers.
Yeah, now the question is whether Max is going to start pushing on the right-hand side again. Or does he go through the middle because he's cleared up the walls? Does he decide that the front side is an area he hasn't tried yet? And he's going to try and advance through there. I mean, Lierey's definitely running out of space, and he's running out of wood as well. Look at that wood line at the back. Look at that wood line at the right. We can check the POV, actually.
Let's see how frantic this is.
Well, from the Max, I think it's going to be, he's just going to be focusing on the left front and the front of Lierey's base. And for Liereyy, let's see what he's looking at here. Yeah, he's got to be realizing, look, he's raiding down near that wood line. He's got to be realizing he's running out of options here.
He's so low on wood now as well, so low, because everything's just getting constricted more and more. He's got that one behind the castle on the right, just here. This is pretty much his only secondary wood line he's got left. We've got this one over here. We did see this get pushed back by TheMax quite a while ago. And look at this, TheMax, there was heaps of skirmishes, so now he's just trained into hussars.
Yeah, it's like each player, you know, they build up their army, they go forward, but they can only go so far, you know? But fortunately for TheMax, every time he goes forward, he gains a little bit more land.
That's it. He just fills it with production buildings
Yeah.
and just keeps pushing in.
Yeah.
Keeps pushing, and eventually he will get somewhere. Like before, he couldn't kind of really get through this gate. We've made it up to here now.
So Max attempting to push on that right-hand side with some rams, but once again, Liereyy sees that coming. He's sending melee units. I think we might actually run out of wood for Liereyy.
Oh!
I think we might do it, yeah.
You know what? I'll call it close enough as to run out of wood at this point. The GG is in, guys. Let's have a look at what's happened here. I just want to see the resources gained, everything here. But TheMax taking game number 1. Whoo, this is going to be a long series, and I'm excited.
Yes, I'm excited too. I'm not excited for the players that have to play later, but we don't care about them. And
That's
we don't
it.
care
We can
about
fall asleep on the couch.
DauT's supposed to cast later. Can you imagine waking DauT up?
He must be so angry right now.
We told him this set was going to start like 30 minutes ago. So let's get through this. Let's fly through this, because Nili's probably telling them, get back into the game right now. So we can speed this along.
Look at this. Units killed, units lost. 1,245, 1,093. Economy, 74,000 wood collected.
Look at that gold collected. That's the big number right there.
Oh, man. It shows you how Liereyy was just so
gold.
far off.
It was a relic gold, man. That was a big difference in this game.
5,000 to 1,500.
It helped him make the Paladins to hold against the early imp pressure from Liereyy. But once that big ball of Cav Archers was wiped up,
oh, man.
He
It's
can
just
just push
how
back
do you
with the
deal with
crossbows.
this?
Yeah.
But from here as well, Liereyy, the thing is, I wouldn't be surprised if this goes to a 3-2 series. Like, these players are both amazing. They're very, very evenly skilled in terms of the actual gameplay in itself. This is... I'm so tired, but at the same time, I'm so adrenaline-filled right now that I'm okay with this. So, you know, if we get past 3 games, I want it to go to all 5.
that was sick. That was sick. Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah, I
Let's
agree.
get into
It's
the next
water
game.
time. You're going to have
Let's
to
go.
forgive me, guys.
No drink for you.
I think I've earned it after the last series and that. All right,
That
let's
whole
see.
game. Just Max is pushing on this side. Lierey's pushing on this side. Max is pushing on this side. That was crazy. That's a long trash game in Arabia for you.
All right, guys. Game number 2 coming up in just 1 second. In terms of the home maps, we did have for Liereyy, we do have Cenotes and Valley.
No.
No.
Between.
Between games?
That's what we
That's
want.
the overlay we want.
You see how I pressed 3 buttons there to get one? I'm tired.
Yeah, man, but we got there, and that's what
Yep.
mattered.
Yep.
That wasn't even... Yeah, overlay guy, what were you doing?
Wasn't doing... Oh, he's pointing at Nili.
All right, so we're just waiting on the next game to get booted up, guys. It is Lierey's choice of map between Valley and Cenotes, and it looks like we're jumping in right now. TheMax as the Aztecs and Liereyy as the Chinese.
And the map is going to be Valley. The map
very
is
important
going to
detail
be
as well.
Valley. So Aztecs, always a solid pick on land maps, and Chinese, definitely a solid pick on any map where you can find your sheep immediately, which is basically all the Definitive Edition maps now. So you get that villager advantage really quickly. Plus, you have a very versatile tech tree.
That's it. They've shown up so
advantage
many
of.
times in this tournament so far that they're just shown as one of the more... You have so many options. There's such a strong start civ, and as long as you can kind of keep the advantage, you're in a great situation with it. So towards the... all good. Towards the east of the map in the red, we do have TheMax playing as the Aztecs.
And we have Liereyy playing as the Chinese, and look at how close. Look at how close they are to that valley. Is that even a valley? That's not a valley.
It's got some hills.
Look at how close they are. Liereyy could push 12 deer right now to his base. And like Max is a bit farther away, but he's still so close. We're gonna see an aggressive game. And
That's it. The rush time is like a screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if I go a little bit left, you can see his houses. I go a little bit over here, you can see sheep.
The screen between their bases has like 20 deer. It's insane. And unfortunately, Actually, no. Max is really close to his boards. I was going to say they were unfortunately behind the wood line, but they're in a really, really good position. Close to his TC. Unfortunately, though, the stone and the gold on the other side of that hill, so maybe he wants to secure that early. I think this game might actually end pretty quickly here with the openness between the two bases.
Absolutely, because the thing is, we kind of moved just a little bit east from Liereyy here, and there's just this big old open section right here that's going to be near impossible to wall, especially with the hills and things for TheMax to use against him in terms of the actual fights themselves. Then the same goes for TheMax over towards the west of his town center, hugely open. There's hills there, so the engagements can be absolutely shocking if you take them badly. So it's one of those things where this should be an extremely aggressive game type, and from there, we might get a quick one.
Do you think we'll see scouts here, or do you think we'll see from the Chinese, or do you think we'll see men-at-arms? Because they're just, if Max scouts Liereyy, sees how close he is, like, that gives you a bigger time window for your men-at-arms, which can pump out damage. Then again, Aztec men-at-arms, they have the advantage, so...
Look, I guess it depends how much TheMax really wants to risk it here. If he wants to go something like Man-at-Arms, the problem is going up against the Aztec ones, like you said. If he does it relatively quickly, he's confident he can get in and do some damage, even try and lame some of the deer around there if he's worried about Liereyy moving forward, then yeah, good play. Otherwise, I guess it's kind of the thing where Liereyy gets the advantage straight away in terms of having the Aztec Drush. He can kind of push forward with that, move up to Man-at-Arms. If he cleans it up, this is just so open for TheMax. I guess the good thing from him, though, this is super, super close in terms of his wood line to the town center. Does have the back gold, the back berries, but again, this is just so open.
He's actually in the process of pushing his third deer, so we might actually see men-at-arms. Obviously, Chinese need that little food boost because they start with less food at the beginning of the game. So they need that to go into those units. And oh my god, Liereyy! There's a rule against no laming of the boar with the scout, but Liereyy has sent a villager forward.
Oh my!
It's so close, and he's taking the boar. There's no rule against this, only with the scout in this tournament, and Lierey's gonna have a definitive advantage in this game, if I do say so myself. Max, I think going for men-at-arms may be out of the picture now. He's not going to have enough food.
That is just absolutely stunning. Liereyy just being an absolute monster here. Taking that ball with a villager from the other side of the map.
Too. As soon as he saw it, he's like, yeah, let's go for it.
How does TheMax react to this?
He didn't even need to block with a scout. It was so close. He just got loom and take it.
Just whoop, straight across the map and is there.
Yeah. And now he's pushing 3 deer at once with a scout. Okay, 2 deer. Push. They're so close to his base. Oh, he can get away with so much. I'll be interested to see what his build is. Does he go for the super greed? Because he has so much food.
I really hope he... Because I feel like that's what Liereyy plays best. He's a greedy player, yes, but when he does pull it off, that's one of those things where it's not even like close to holdable.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's something I really want to see, especially combined with the micro talent that he has as well. If he just gets a bunch of militia out and TheMax can't deal with it, it's basically game over, especially on a map as open as this. And even then, if he can just secure him in his base, it means Liereyy can move out. He can take even more of this hunt and pull his advantage even further.
So Max pushed in, I think he pushed in 2 more deer into his TC, so he's trying to make up for that. But he is actually, you know, he's behind on villagers now, which is a bit weird considering that Liereyy got early loom and, oh no, Lierey's Chinese. Okay, never mind. This whole time I was thinking Max was Chinese. People must think I'm an idiot because I am an idiot, but Liereyy is Chinese, so we'll see what he can do with that uber extra food that he got from the boar from TheMax.
How much has he got still in the bank? He's still got over 100 food in the bank. He's got his militia queued up there as well. He's on his way to feudal age. He's looking pretty strong at this point, and he's still actually luring these deer in as well. He's just going, this is so greedy, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and we'll see what he goes for here. Like, is he making men-at-arms? Yeah, he's making militia, so he's gonna upgrade those once he gets to feudal age. 2 on gold as well. How many does he make? He's got the food. How many does he make?
I really... Look, it's one of those things where I feel like 3 is going to be common, but I really wanted to push for 5 just because he's got that bonus. But I don't know if he's going to be able to get much done with it. That's the thing. Like, looking at the base over here, the walls are up around the wood line. It walls to the TC so effectively. The gold's still quite open, but I don't think there's going to be enough to kind of push away from there. A couple of palisades and it's kind of dealt with. So I think 3 kind of feels about right, but at the same time, go for the greed. I say he's got the food to do it. May as well. He's not really losing out on too much.
Yeah. Well, we'll see where he pushes in first. If I look at his scouting for Liereyy, he sees the wood line. Okay, he doesn't even see the main gold in the back.
All right, gotcha.
And he has to assume the TC's pretty close. So maybe he'll loop around and look for the berries from the max. So if he goes around the top side, he's going to find them.
And there we go. We have double archery range coming down from the max straight away upon hitting feudal here. These militia trying to make something happen. We'll see if they get on top of anything. But down come the quick walls from Max, and he deals with this relatively effectively. Militia at the moment just kind of be around, be annoying as much as possible. Those archers, though, will push them off relatively quickly from here.
Yeah, the problem with archers is that it's generally pretty slow, but I'm thinking it might be a decent play here, considering that the Max's base is so closed off. The only problem for it is that he's not going to have access to his gold at the moment until he does something about that. Only 2 villagers on gold is not enough to sustain double archery range production.
So Liereyy basically at this stage just delaying with the man-at-arms as much as possible. Just being annoying and trying to make it so he doesn't fall behind any further than he needs to. And then from there, he gets his own archery range up. He's got skirmishers on the way from there. So he's got the counter ready to go. Yeah,
even if he runs these men-at-arms away, as soon as he sees the archers from the max, he can come back with a few skirmishers and then just loop back around to that gold. And as long as he's denying that, he knows the archer production from the max is going to be delayed. And I think the max, let's see if he follows this up. While he can't make archers, he's making 2 more, maybe follow it up with some skirmishers after that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much bang on. Just keep them working at this stage. But those skirmishers enough to kind of just annoy those villagers even further now. Just use the men-at-arms as the bulk. But even then,
Has he overforged? I think he might have overforged. Yeah, there might be a risky build there.
In fact, here comes the risky go right now. Men-at-arms is in on top of this one. Skirmishers taking a fight here as well. Manages to get 1 villager there.
This is not looking good for the max today. This is going to be a quick game, I think. He's got the skirmishers to back him up. Still only 2 villagers on gold for the max. He's not going to be producing archers. Those men-at-arms, they deal really, really well with skirmishers, actually, in feudal age fights, especially straight up, as long as the skirmishers can't hit and run. But they're acting as a tanky little meat shield as Liereyy builds up his army behind that.
Yeah, this has been fantastically played by Liereyy. Look at this, the way he's even dividing up. I want to say dividing up his men-at-arms, but he might have just lost a little bit of control there as they wander in towards the town center. Skirmishers behind this as well, so he's got a bit of bulk that he can work with. And then on top of that, he's got the skirmishers who can come in, try and pick off the archers where he can, and just really dwindle down on the Max's army.
I love how he's capitalizing on this too. He's got villagers out in the center taking the deer, probably drop a few mills soon enough on that. Right now they're going back to his original mill, but he's capitalizing on his map control that he's attained with stealing that boar, with being so aggressive with the men-at-arms, and now with the skirmisher play to counter the archers from the max.
Exactly. As long as he can hold the max at base here, there's no reason for him to be worried about that center. He just needs to continue being aggressive, and then he can be nice and greedy in the center, get all that extra resource, and then even start looking at a quicker castle time.
And Max trying to wall the back of his base now. He's trying to wall in that gold. He's trying to make it secure so they can get more villagers on there and get more archers pumping out, but Liereyy putting so much pressure, even on the farms now from the max. And he's sitting on the berries too, so the food income is going to struggle. Everything's struggling right now. You can see the villager difference is 3. It's not looking good at all.
Yeah, Lierey's just kind of grabbed this one straight away. We were hoping for something extremely aggressive from him, really utilizing all those early game wins that he got and even the disadvantages he gave towards his opponent. So right now, looking really, really strong.
Good micro from the max though. Great micro from the max, picking off a men-at-arm. And not losing a skirmisher to Liereyy. We know Liereyy has excellent micro, so Max defending well, still in a very, very tough spot.
Absolutely, because at the top of this, we've got Liereyy moving out, taking those deer like you were talking about earlier, because there's just so much deer there. He's going to be there for absolute ever. Already 300-ish or 200 food in the bank anyway. Starting to look like he's going to be able to get up nice and quickly.
Yeah, and Liereyy just keeps looping around this mill. He wants to keep Max at his base and let himself do whatever he wants. I mean, like, one archer range skirms is what's holding Max in right now. That's it. And a couple men-at-arms that already did some damage. Like, it's crazy, dude.
We do have a couple of Eagles actually getting trained up behind this as well. The good news is Max has gone for the same strategy, and it looks like, look at that, the Eagles, once they're on top, they take like no damage and can just whittle away pretty quickly. So Liereyy, he's lost his man-at-arms, and this is the Max's chance to actually push back out.
Well, the Eagles are going to die, I think. I think good micro from Liereyy, and the Eagles have no upgrades. So I think they're gonna get whittled down by the skirmishers, and then Liereyy can add something behind this. What's he adding behind this? A stable. Okay, a stable.
stable. He's got the armor coming in behind it as well, so he will be able to just push straight on top of the skirmishers. And I guess that's the thing. He kept denying this wood. He kept denying the gold, or sorry, he kept denying the berries, the gold, and because of that, he's really been able to kind of hold this one down, force the skirmishers, and as soon as that stable comes out, 3 scouts, he gets on top of it pretty quickly.
There's a shift now because he's losing quite a few skirmishers. Still, you're right about the stable. As soon as one scout comes out, all of these skirmishers are going to have a ton of problems against that. Armor for Liereyy as well on the skirmishers, and no armor for Max, so that's important to note.
It's good to note as well, the Max has seen this stable now. He has actually dropped down a couple of spears out of this, so he knows what's coming. He just needs to kind of keep these skirmishers alive for now, or at least get as much damage out of them as he can. And it looks like he's aiming towards a scout. He was shooting over towards these skirmishers here for a little bit as well. But I think this is going to get cleaned up pretty quickly as soon as we have like one more scout out in play.
And we can switch to the POV of Liereyy, see where he's focusing. I think right now, just trying to get enough food eco down to go to the Castle Age. I think he knows that Max is extremely delayed, taking the fight here against the Eagles and the Skirmishers. I don't think he's super worried about those Eagles. They do have the armor, but Scouts trade fairly well, especially with the Skirmishers backing them up. He's actually sending some villagers out to take the deer. If we look at Max's point of view, what's he looking at? Again, looking at cubes, trying to get his farming equals stable, and trying, I think, what he wants to do is just delay Liereyy as long as possible and try and get his way back into the game. He's got to mark it down, actually, which generally indicates that he's going to go for 2 barracks or Eagles.
Absolutely, and behind that as well, because he did force all of these scouts from Liereyy. The Max is actually going up to Castle Age now, while Liereyy still quite far behind, only 300 food in the bank right now. That commitment to the scouts has really delayed his castle time, and the Max pushed him out really well. He moved those skirmishers across the map. He really didn't give much of a choice to Liereyy, so because of that, the Max is going to be going a little bit further ahead right now.
Max is going YOLO too, because he's dropped the tower on that wood line on the left-hand side. Preemptive defensive tower there, and he doesn't really have any stone options, so he's probably, unless he buys it with that market, probably going to be going multiple barracks Eagles here in the Castle Age and just try and overwhelm Liereyy. And Liereyy is still not up. You're right, the Scouts did delay him quite a bit. He'll be up in about a minute or so, but Max will be there far before him.
And with these Eagles, that's where things become really difficult, especially to hold when all you've really got is feudal army, essentially a couple of skirmishers out, no real bulk of archers or bulk of essentially scouts to really begin to deal with them. Throws up another archery range behind this as well.
I think Lierey's looking for holes as well in Max's base with the scouts. There was a hole for a little bit.
There's an overchop.
Yeah, he walls it. Okay. Great wall there, but there's a gigantic hole at the back if Liereyy can get in and be super annoying with these scouts. Armor upgrade on the scouts as well as forging, so if they do get into the villagers, those vills aren't going to be able to kill them quickly, although there is a spearman there from Max. Great play.
The Max actually throwing down his 3rd barracks now as well. Really wants this Eagle play to just work out for him. We do have Liereyy 30% of the way to Castle Age as well, and only just getting his eco upgrades now as well.
Yeah, Max coming out with the Eagles. He's going to reach the Castle Age any second now, and then probably immediately start upgrading those units. Is there a hole in Lierey's base? Yes, there is.
I've just seen an archer walk through it, so
yes, there is a hole. Liereyy has a few archers there, but the Eagles are going to be upgraded pretty soon. I think Max needs to run around for about maybe 20 seconds here until the upgrade comes in, and then he can do some damage. Gate from Liereyy, though, and a house.
Oh, it's gone!
But it's gone immediately. Right as it goes up, it goes back down, and Liereyy trying to quick wall these Eagles in. The TC fire is not going to do too much damage to them, so I think Max can just run right through.
There we go, the upgrade's in. He's ready to take the fights. Chainmail armor coming down behind this as well to make them even more resistant, and we just have more streaming in from the other side as well.
Yeah, and how much damage can he do with this is the question. You see the Scout Cav with the upgrades, actually, and the Skirmishers there are clearing up the Eagles.
This had nowhere near the effect I think Max wanted on it.
Yeah,
These got cleaned up so quickly. We lost a villager, cleaned up a little bit of the army around here. Still pushing in and trying to deny as much as he can with these Eagles. Market does get thrown up to kind of hide this section here as well, which is quite good from Liereyy. But Liereyy now starting to get his own upgrades behind it. He's got crossbow. He's building some knights behind it as well. So really the next push is up to Liereyy to make back.
I'm just so surprised that Max is in such a decent position in this game. I thought he was 100% done, but you look at the villager count and it's in favor of him. And he's putting pressure on Lierey's economy. Liereyy doesn't have any extra TCs yet. Max doesn't have the stone for TCs, but he does have a market, so maybe if he wants to boom behind this pressure, he can.
We do have a couple more Eagles grouping around the back here for Max, looking for somewhere he can really kind of do some pain, I guess. Liereyy keeping his army relatively close. I was worried he was going to kind of move off with it, but Liereyy knows what kind of game this is. The Eagle raid is coming in now, so he needs to be pretty much ready to go with this as soon as he can. Eagles come in, and it doesn't look like he noticed straight away, so the village is going to take quite a little bit of damage here.
Every villager counts at this stage in the game. Like, this could snowball quite heavily, especially if Max keeps up that production from all 3 of his barracks. Even if he adds potentially another barracks. No, he's added a TC on the gold, so I think he ended up buying stone with that market to drop that TC. And they're going to pick another villager at the top there. This is such good pressure from the Max. This is really, really good pressure from him.
It's so minimal units, and he's just doing such a good job of actually taking down whatever he can, taking the engagements that are going to work for him as best as possible. Like, even this, just getting a couple of knights, because, like, whittle down those numbers. Why not?
Yep. And build up your own Eagle numbers, too. Like, he's saving them at his base. No, he's sending another 5 in, I think. Slowly killing villagers. At some point, though, Max needs to mass, because now the crossbows are coming across the map from Liereyy, and Max needs to have something to deal with that. I think the time for raiding at the moment is done. You need to take a big engagement.
Yeah, hopefully if he's lucky, he should be able to get a big surround on top of these crossbows as well. Not really give him too many places to really be able to run to. The only thing I'm worried about is, like, if he comes around to this wood line here again, can just snipe a couple of villages there.
Well,
if
there's
the
a
Max
tower there,
looking,
right? Max saw this coming. There's a tower there, and now he's
the outpost as well. This is why the Max is so damn good. He just sees everything coming.
Yep, and he's on 2 TCs, and unfortunately for Liereyy, his economy is still 1 TC, which is unbelievable because we thought he had such an advantage going in here. And maybe Lierey's kind of realized that Max is taking back the eco advantage, and now he's going to go with a huge group of crossbows there and knights as well. Knights +2 isn't in yet, but Bloodlines is coming in right now. This should be a pretty good combination against just mono Eagles from Max. And we'll see if Max decides to engage this or if he's going to go to Lierey's base. I see his army running across to Lierey's base, but he might head back as soon as he sees just how many units are here.
There's a hole right towards the top.
There's a gigantic hole,
There's
man.
A gigantic
is that even a hole?
You're right,
That's
there's
huge.
just a section he didn't wall.
That is the
at this
Grand
stage.
Canyon of holes right there.
Production building is slowly getting taken down at the front here, though, from the Max. So Liereyy at least trying to get some value out of these armies. But behind that as well, we do have the Max just throwing up a monastery straight away. He's going to be able to begin to deal with those. But the Eagles are in.
This might be game. Oh, my goodness.
If he can just run straight in front of everything.
I don't think Liereyy can do any damage at Max's base. I think Max is going to kill like 20 villagers.
No army. He's got nothing here to begin to deal with that. It's 2, 3, 4, 5.
And there's not going to be enough room in that TC if Max just wants to dive it. That is a question mark.
3 plus 2 armor already as well.
How many villagers can you kill here? Oh my goodness, look at the villa count now. It's crazy. Liereyy is diving into Max's base as well, but Max getting his 3rd TC up now. He's got 4th TC he's trying to get up now.
Oh no, this is absolutely horrendous under Lierey's TC right now. There is no way. 32 to 60
and at Max's
villagers.
Base, he's trying to quick wall in. He's trying to defend that TC going up.
Lierey's
going to get some Vill kills, but not enough.
That's it. It's just nowhere in comparison. Liereyy at the moment, half the villagers of the Max, and Lierey's only 1 town center behind this as well.
26
at 31 minutes.
Oh, we got a quick game. And it was an amazing game. Like, what a swing. What a swing. Liereyy took those boars, or that boar with his villager. And then I think you were right. Like, you called it. That he overinvested on scouts. He made too many. And I think it was the greed, too. Like, the 1 archer range counter with the skirmishers, he just couldn't keep up with the pop of the Max. And as soon as Max added eagles there, he was forced to go into scouts, and then he was suddenly behind.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing as well. Liereyy had such a good early game. I mean, he stole the boar. He lured all those deer. He had the deer from the middle. It was just kind of the fact
pressure,
that
picking the villager on the berry, holding Max from the gold, everything. But
he had everything, and the Max just played it so well. Coming back into this, that's absolutely stunning. 2-0.
2-0 over Liereyy. Oh my God. Okay, I didn't see this one coming, but super stoked.
That's just... I don't know how that played out to how it did. There was just one point there. Liereyy made a bad decision, and TheMax just absolutely punished it.
Well, and TheMax used the market exactly the way you need to use the market. You know, Liereyy, I think Liereyy kind of played that like he was fully walled. But he wasn't fully walled.
I think
it's Valley,
well,
and he was so open on the front, like it's not fully walled.
I don't get how he has that big hole in the back there. Eagles just come in. That's game ending. If that hole wasn't there, it wouldn't have been so bad. Obviously, the Eagles would have been able to push through it still, because it's just palisades at the end of the day. Could have tried to wall behind it though, but that gap literally just—that's the game.
All right, so what are the civs here? I think we've got a Mayan's Mirror here.
Mayans? I'm seeing one Mayans.
And what's
I think we're seeing
Mayans
as well.
All right, here we go.
We are jumping into a game number 3. It looks like it's potentially a Mayan Mirror here as well.
Mayan Mirror. The Mayan calendar predicted that Liereyy would lose 3-0 in 2019. Did you know that?
Too bad it's 2020.
It was in the hieroglyphs. Pelican, bird, jaguar. It said it. 100%. All right, let's get into the game here. We've got both players playing as the Mayans. TheMax is playing on the right-hand side of the map, and Liereyy is playing on the left-hand side of the map. What do you have to say about these maps? Because we can't talk about the civs.
Well, that's it, right?
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, I think the big thing to take is this is Lierey's home map, but it's his second pick. He wanted Valley. That was his safe map, his first pick, and he started off really well. But then TheMax just turned it around, flipped it straight on top of him. I think he's got to be shaken.
What's his confidence level right now? Like, he was playing so greedy, he was playing so Liereyy-like, and it just backfired so hard. What is he doing this matchup to come back? The one thing I do notice about this map, look at that middle. Look at all the stones there. The only stone that isn't in the middle of the map is over at Max's base. So if we're going to go for a plumed archer war, and Max takes control of that, yeah, that could be decisive here.
That's it. All it takes is one castle here in the center,
yes.
And then you pretty much get to dictate the entire game.
What an unfortunate placement for Lierey's main stone. just a horrendous placement at the farthest range it could possibly be from the TC. Fortunately for him, he has the safe back gold, and he has, as always, you have woodline options on cenotes. You usually have a few of them. Max's base also looks pretty good.
Does have the forward gold though, but looking at the woodlines here, you can wall that in so easy. Yeah. So he should be fine behind this. Does have a couple of puddles behind him as well, but looking at this, it should be a relatively easy wall off towards the edge of the map as well. So I don't think he'll have too much struggle with it. Actually pushing a couple of deer in behind this as well. Liereyy, is he doing the same thing, or is he off actually scouting? I think he's off actually scouting his base, making sure there's no holes in the lumber.
Yeah, man, he's trying to figure out where all that extra res is. He's not playing greedy. Maybe he learned a thing or two from last game.
Ooh,
he's gonna play meta.
Come on, steal the llama. Oh, I think he's gonna go the wrong way. Ah, it's a shame.
This is the llama's natural habitat, you know. All right, so Max starting to wall up on that top side with a couple houses. That's a good. Max is really, really good at building up his base early. He's really good at identifying his map's weaknesses and then turning them into strengths, kind of, with his buildings.
And I think that's something that is kind of taken away with this. Like, when we look at the last game, Liereyy only had one angle he could really push. He had that tower up so far in advance that Liereyy couldn't even push
Max's defensive tower on that one side. Remember, the crossbows couldn't push in that way.
Yeah.
Like, and they didn't go that way, but it was just in case. It was just like, he prepares for everything.
And I think that's definitely where Lierey's having the most trouble here. Someone who loves playing that aggressive, fast game. When you just run into just an object like TheMax, who's just prepared for all these pushes, you can't get that momentum that you really need to be able to close a game out. It just gets flipped on you once TheMax kind of just goes into eco power drive, and then eventually the game just ends because you don't have enough resources, essentially.
Okay, so I think Liereyy is actually going to get this llama.
Woo.
No llama for you, it's for me. Let's switch into the player point of view at the early stage of this game. There's not much more we can talk about. We can see Liereyy scouting out the lumber camp from TheMax. That's not going to tell him too much. With the Mayans at this stage in the game, 4 villagers on wood. He's actually putting a barracks at the front of his base to help wall off that area. And now he's looking at the boar coming into TheMax's base. No potential to lame that villager. Going over to Minecraft, Max bringing in his boar, checking out the color of the cubes along the side of the map, seeing a jaguar there. I don't know if those spawn naturally in Minecraft, but this is a special exception. And he's actually looking for Liereyy. So pushing the deer early, this could be a disadvantage, right? Like, what if Liereyy were going for super early aggression? You haven't spotted him yet. I think he actually is going to make his way over to Lierey's base now. Yeah, he sees that yellow cube. That's going to tell him all he needs to know. And he's going to know that Liereyy is over here in the red. Going back to the game now. What does it look like Lierey's going to do here?
Well, Lierey's already got his barracks up, so he knows he can kind of make a play with that if he does want to. However, he has seen a lot of the walls that were coming up from the Max.
And Max is actually going militia right now. And Max is walling quite a bit.
No, this is really, really good for the Max. Like, again, he got his walls up super quickly. I think he's feeling very confident, very comfortable in this matchup now.
Well, he's going for a drush, so definitely feeling comfortable that he can wall his base for sure. And Lierey's going to see this. So that's an important piece of information. He's going to keep his eagle there, too, and be annoying.
I like it. This is the Liereyy that we all know and love.
Max took the llama back. He got him back. That's my llama. Bring him back. Bring our boys back.
So Liereyy up to Feudal Age, actually creating a couple of militia of his own at this stage, so it looks like we will see a little bit of a Dark Age fight here for a bit there. And the thing is, Lierey's just completely open. Still, the Max has spent so much time walling off.
You know what's also annoying? That pond on the left-hand side of Lierey's base. Oh, you wanted to wall, bro? Oh, sorry. Not gonna let you. I mean, you could drop a dock there, but
that hurts.
It's so annoying.
He's got another one just behind the wood line in the back of the base.
Yeah.
A couple of flashbacks.
And the militia now coming in from the Max, and Lierey's actually going for men-at-arms, and I think he's going tower forward. I think this is the correct play. He saw the walls from the Max, and he saw the drush coming out. Max can't spot this. Max doesn't know this is coming because he looped all the way around with his eagles. This is an excellent play for Liereyy, especially considering where those stone spots are, where that gold spot is in the middle, but Max double walling. He's being safe.
Palisades.
He's being safe, dude. I don't know if it's going to be enough, though. Like, the men-at-arm tower push is just so strong. And he actually deleted the wall at the south to let the llama in, too, but Lierey's not going to find it. What's he doing with his drush? Just attacking the mining camp. Liereyy knew this was coming.
That's it. We had these quick walls up, well, I should say they're more efficient. They weren't exactly quick. Had the more efficient walls up pretty much everywhere. The Max, double layers of palisade coming up, even pulls another villager to help deal with this one. Militia gonna take some time, but with the watchtower coming up, they're gonna get in there.
Max needs to hold this position, though, like later in the game, because that's his only gold available. If you look at the other gold spots, they're in the middle of the map, they're in the north. Oh, he's actually putting a mining camp at the gold spot in the north.
He's a genius.
Awareness
already. Oh, no, he deleted it.
Oh, okay. I was getting super hyped, but that's the most hype I've ever been for a mining camp placement in my life.
Yeah,
but
that's
it is NAC
But look at this
free,
as well. The Max actually wanting to come forward and go under the stone early in the center of the map. Decided the stone's a little bit more valuable right now.
He's changed his mind. He's going to loop around.
Will the scout see it?
This could be super unfortunate for him if the scout does see it, though. The men-at-arms are still there, battering down that wall, and Max is actually walling behind that to his gold, so that gold's going to be pretty inaccessible for him at the time being until he can do something about it. And now the villagers aren't going to that stone.
They're going back to the gold.
I'm getting hype again. He's going to that gold. He's like, nah, I don't need the stone.
But surely, it's one of those things, though, where as soon as you see him kind of produce a couple of gold units or they hit field, you go, all right, where are they getting gold from? And you go out and do all your scouting.
Yeah, and actually a Jaguar attacking one villager that's decided to venture away from that mining camp. So is that villager going to come towards the gold from Liereyy and actually drop a tower to support these militia that are still attacking that mining camp?
We do have Liereyy throwing down another tower on top of this gold as well, just trying to make things as difficult as possible. But the Max also have the same mindset, going down for triple palisades.
Yeah, this is a bit risky for the Max, though, because I mean, he's trying to palisade behind this, and if he does make a tower, as I think he might make near Lierey's base, he's not going to have the stone for a defensive tower. So if Liereyy ever gets in here, it's going to be big trouble in Little Mayanville.
The militia, again, still just trying to find a worm in the way in here. We do have, oh
okay,
man, a proxy archery range.
This is classic Max, dude. This is classic Max.
And we actually do have Liereyy bailing out with his men-at-arms now as well. Still continuing, he's walled off towards the town center here, which I guess is kind of a good play at this stage. But yeah, the archery range from Max, that's great.
Yeah, and he sent more villagers up north, and Lierey's looping around, but I think he's going to miss him. I'm 100% sure he's going to miss him. But that is... to be fair, that is a giant wall that's hard to defend against Men-at-Arms tower push for the Max, and he realizes that. I think he's going to wall to the middle, but
the Max is in on top of the berries as well.
The Max is in with that drush. The overforage on the berries. He's not going to be able to... Did he pick a villager there? I don't think he did. But he's going to be super annoying.
He got the scout earlier on towards the gold camp, but look at this, double archery range now. The Max means business. He just needs to hold here and then just be super aggressive and see what Liereyy has to deal with.
And he's trying to hold with a watchtower, so he's going to use that stone there. The villager won't come forward unless he gets a market to buy some stone. He doesn't have access to that, remember. And he's going to drop a watchtower in this northern end. He also has an outpost on the right-hand side of his base. Once again, we see the outpost coming in from the Max, so he can get that vision and know if Lierey's trying to push in from that side.
This is just... I hope this pays off, because this is such a risk to take.
You know what, though? Like, from Lierey's perspective, this is what you have to do. If you see that gold position, if you see the other gold positions, if you see that Max is going super, super defensive into a drush, this is the correct play. You pressure it, right? And Max is actually waiting with his archers. He's going to surprise Liereyy, and... this is also the correct... So many correct plays from both of these players.
This is why this has been such a good series as well, even though the fact we're at 2-0 right now. So many of the calls have just been right from both players. So it means everything here is going to be earned. But we have 5 archers at the moment making their way towards Lierey's base, and he doesn't have an answer for this right now. All they need to do is sit right here, and he can't get back to the town center. He just pushes out towards the goal.
Well, he notices it right away. Oh my goodness, that awareness from Liereyy to notice that immediately. And he's going to get away with all of the villagers.
Oh, wow. That's
not
stunning.
A single pick. Lierey's a god. Liereyy is a god. Unfortunately, there is a villager exposed at the north, so maybe he's going to get her. And he's slowly denying the space for the Max, too. If he ends up dropping a tower on the other side of his base, Max isn't going to have many options. So we'll see which strategy kind of pays off here. Liereyy also has to be wondering, how is he getting the gold for these archers?
That's the thing now, right? So now he knows there has to be gold somewhere on the map that he can go hunting for. And the other thing that's starting to really become an issue here as well is the Max spent the money on his tower right now.
I think he should go out to that stone on the left-hand side. I think he needs to go out to that, get some... He still has the foundation. That's been there all game. That's 100 wood he hasn't been using. But he should go out to that stone, get access to it, and then like defend this area of the map because he's only got 1 wood line he can take at the moment.
Max just still pumping out archers. Pretty confident he can make something happen.
Coming into the wood line too from Liereyy. Let's see what he can do. I think he did manage to get 1 pick. Will he get another one? The tower from Liereyy is a... He tried to do 2 things with that tower. He tried to defend the farms, and he tried to defend the wood line, and he ended up kind of doing both at 50%, but not doing either thing completely. So Max can just run around the back end of this wood line, and now Liereyy is actually fighting archers under his tower in the middle.
Oh, man. Not a situation you ever want to be in, but it worked out really well. He got the archers, he got rid of the units he needed there. This has worked out well for him so far. He hasn't lost too many units. The Max is ahead about 4 villages at this point in time. Still looking for that pressure against the Max, but he can't really kind of find it at this point. Like back, he's got the towers up, he's denied the wood lines, but the thing is he just needs like a couple more towers, but Max at the moment's taken some stone. He's relatively okay.
You know what? That's exactly what he needed to do. He needs to create some defenses on that left-hand side of the base. And I love what Max is doing so much right now. He knows Lierey's struggling for wood. He knows he's pushed him off wood lines. So he's got archers basically stationed at either wood line. And now, as the men-at-arms come into that stone I just saw, he's going to quick wall. Good play from him. But at Lierey's base, Lierey's actually forced to drop another counter tower.
That's it. We've got kind of the same play from each other here. Both of them just trying to restrict the movement, mitigate any kind of access to any kind of resource they have here. I would say Lierey's, though, with the extra range on those towers, just so effective.
Lierey's got access to the stone in the middle. That's a very big deal. And now Max is actually going out to the stone in the middle. It's like they're mirroring each other, you know? This is a crazy game. I really, really like this.
Lierey's going to see the stone in the middle in 1 second here with the villagers, though, and notice it and he's out of there. Just has to be very, very careful, of course, these archers don't catch up, because all he's really got over here is the towers, a couple of man-at-arms. Sitting under the towers, he should be relatively okay. Can always delete the palisade and hop in as well if he really needs to.
So Liereyy dropped a market, which kind of tells me he might be thinking about going up soon. Oh, he is thinking about going up soon. His resources look so good in comparison to the Max, and he is on stone too. So if he manages to get a castle down, that's huge. But Max is running right underneath this tower, picks a villager, and I don't think with 5 archers there, I don't think Liereyy can fight this with villagers.
He
He's
goes
gonna
for
try.
it anyway. He forces Max away. Loses. Will he lose an archer? Loses one archer on the way out.
That's correct play, I guess. And Max dropping a tower in the middle, I believe.
Oh,
there it is.
man, this is so good
There it
right
is.
now.
I think Liereyy has more villagers on his, though, so he should have the advantage. Archers coming in, though. Max is trying to get them under the tower to delay,
yes.
but there's so many losses there from Max. And now Liereyy can engage with villagers, and suddenly Max has lost his archer numbers. I'm not sure if that was the best play of all time. He's going to maybe kill another villager and delay this tower a little bit, but I don't know. We'll see how it plays out.
He gets a couple there, but Liereyy only needs a couple. Look at that. He's just bought the gold. He needs to go up. So he's going to be fine any second now, on his way to Castle Age. And as soon as that happens, of course, he had the stone. He just needs to deal with this tower, which he's got the villagers.
Look, he tried to gate. He tried to gate the villagers out. That's crazy. Liereyy with the plays. He does not want to lose at the moment, and he definitely wants the castle in this position on this hill. Max realizes this. Liereyy realizes this, and Max is trying to build a defensive tower there, preemptive defensive tower. But Liereyy with more villagers, and he's going to force his way up onto this position.
Absolutely.
And
even
no
then,
archers.
The castle behind him as well. 10% difference only.
Only 5 archers for Max. Imagine if he hadn't lost all those archers to the towers. He's actually done a great job positioning his archers, like you just looked around Lierey's base. So he's being super annoying against the farms, but Liereyy now producing skirmishers to push that back.
That's it, and that's all it takes. At the moment, he just needs to get to castle. If he takes down this tower in the middle here, all he needs to do is plonk a castle down right here, and he is just in such a commanding position.
Liereyy losing another villager. So Max definitely has more villager picks. He has the villager advantage. He is faster to the Castle Age, but I think Lierey's going to have a better option once he gets there, right? If he gets that map control in the middle. Let's check Lierey's stone. Actually, Liereyy,
he doesn't have it. He's getting
been
forced to put up towers everywhere.
Yeah. Same with Max. Neither player has enough stone to immediately drop a castle, and neither player has enough resources to just buy their own castle. So, oh, this is going to be a very, very interesting Castle Age, my friend.
I'm not exactly sure how they can play it. Like, Lierey's got such good map control here in the middle.
But Max has the archers still roaming around, right? And
he's still got a good stone back at home as well. Like, he's got 260 in the bank. So both of them obviously going to be starting to look for that castle, get into that plumed archers.
Yep, and Max has a lot more on stone than Liereyy at the moment. Let's see, Liereyy has roughly 200, but only 6 villagers on stone. And we look at Max, he's got 250, almost 300 now, and he's got 10 villagers on stone. So dropping a TC near Lierey's base.
What is this madness? Siege Workshop
And
coming
Siege
up
Workshop.
as well.
And Siege Workshop.
Tower coming up. The Max here is just like, all right, let's move it away from here. Let's start the fighting over here.
And Lierey's dropping a university to counter this. This is the ultimate counter to Siege Workshop push and forward TC and tower and crossbows. Didn't you know that?
University.
Yeah, 100%. Maybe guard tower.
It's all about
even.
those book smarts.
Maybe guard tower. You never know. There's been so many surprises in this set. It's just insane. Oh man, I love the fact that Max went out to that stone because now he has the option to expand his base to the left-hand side. Lierey's no longer trapping him in, and Liereyy losing the skirmishers, so he really doesn't have any army presence anymore other than towers.
Oh man, this is just so hard for Liereyy to deal with right now. We do have the Mangonel on the way out for our man, the Max, as well. Liereyy, though, guard tower on the way.
Yep, guard tower, such a strong tech, especially if you want to control the middle of that map, right?
Especially when you got this many towers there already as well.
Dude, you want to control that stone, and it's just going to be so hard for Max to push him off. Even if he drops a castle on that hill with guard tower now, with like double the HP of a watchtower, it's just going to be, really, really impossible, especially with Liereyy with the possibility of dropping a castle of his own. Now the Mangonel coming out, guard towers do so well against these.
That's it. Look at this. It's just such a difference. That extra little attack you get from guard tower, it adds up so significantly against the Mangonels.
So Max has enough stone for a castle. He's placing it defensively. He's going to clear up his main gold. Maybe this is probably the smartest play.
Look, I think it's probably the way to go as well. In reality here, he's looking for any town center
and he
castle
knows he can't
get
push that middle area, right?
He needs this resource from here.
Yeah.
The middle's pretty much locked down at this stage. That said, how are we looking here? Managed to get the villager, killed him out, managed to get rid of the Mangonel there as well.
And he's
so the
taking
tower
Lierey's
will
gold.
stand.
I mean, he's depleting Lierey's secondary gold, so that's something.
Well, that's very true. It's about the resources. We learned that in game number one.
I tell you what, we'll follow up in 25 minutes.
Maybe longer.
That's when we'll come back to that goal. If this game even goes 25 minutes, it seems like it's one of those games that could just suddenly snowball based on army compositions
the
and
fact
raids.
we've got the castle up already for the max, that's just huge.
And
you can
Eagles
start
coming
getting
out
those plumed
too.
archers.
Eagles is, that's an army switch for him. If we see the Eagle Warrior tech come in, then we'll know that he's committing. But I think this might just be to deal with any potential skirms that might counter these crossbows.
I agree entirely. It's just enough to kind of throw it off, I guess.
And third TC now, coming down from the max on one of those golds that he kind of secured with that castle. So he's pushing out to the left-hand side of that base. So glad that he went to that stone to secure that and defend that area.
Yeah, it makes such a difference. So this has been a really, really good play for the Max. And like we said, he's just laying out his base expertly at this stage. He's got that castle down, got the town center from there as well, secured his other gold.
I mean, Lierey's no slouch either. He almost has enough stone for a castle. And what did we say at the beginning of the game? I said, like, this area of the map is so important. If he gets a castle down in this area, all of a sudden the mangonels are dying. As he lost 3 crossbows to that guard tower at the front there, and he's dropping...
Castle's defensively next to the...
Defensive castle, okay, so he's nervous. He's nervous about this mangonel.
This is really interesting, actually.
And the Eagle coming into the mangonel, I think that might be cleared up from the Eagles from the max. Maybe not. I think Lierey's actually going to pick that mangonel for the cost of nothing. 1 Eagle. Insane.
That's just always a good trade. Whenever you get something for nothing, got to take the win. The defensive castle, though, I guess it's a good spot. All the pressure is coming in from here. He has been worried about that.
Plume's out from the max now in the middle of the map, but there's guard tower, obviously. Guard tower was such a good tech.
Gets 1 villager, potentially going to get a second here as well by the looks of it. Gets 2, and potentially even a third actually behind this.
And Max,
look for that. That's great.
No, I know, and you know what? Lierey's held on against us so well. Like, Max isn't ahead by that much. There's a potential for Liereyy to come back, especially with this positioning.
He's got so many safe spots at the moment as well, with all these guard towers up and about. The castle back at base. His eco is so safe. Because what's he got? He's got the 2 town centers up behind it at the moment. Looking over towards the max. He's got the 1 here. He's got 1 in the back. What's this? Another castle? Second castle coming up for the max, though.
Yeah, he's going to totally secure that main gold. He's identified the issue that Liereyy exploited early in the game, his gold positioning, and now he has 2 safe golds right in front of his base. And
another
Lierey's
bunch
gold,
of villages as well.
Yeah, Lierey's gold is super exposed.
Look at the Max's village account as well. 83 compared to 60.
He's a boomer, dude. He's a boomer behind pressure. That's his entire mantra.
Oh, this is just, it's amazing gameplay when he can put out pressure like this and at the same time still just be so far ahead in terms of his eco.
And he's dropping a 4th TC north of Lierey's base. 4th TC, all the map control is in favor of the Max.
What can Liereyy do? He's got to find a way to start pushing this back. The Max is just taking so much map control.
This is sick, man. And Liereyy can't take that gold in the middle anymore. He's dropping a Siege Workshop. Is he going to go for like a ram push? You can't go for a ram push against 2 castles.
This is just becoming incredibly hard to deal with now from Lierey's point of view. The Max has just read every single game here pretty much perfectly.
Yeah, and the plumed archers now looping around to that main gold from Liereyy, and they can find villagers. They can find picks there easily, and they've got the armor that they can take some hits from that TC even if he garrisons too. And he knew they were coming, so good map awareness there from Liereyy. Only 1 there, so 1 for 1 in terms of villagers and plumed archers. The Max, though, kind of just holding Liereyy in his base and booming behind, getting his eco rolling. I'd love to see the Max go up to Imperial Age a bit quicker here, too, even though he has the 4 TCs. I want to see him get control of that middle area.
I was really expecting Liereyy to put up a castle on this hill, but he still just does not have the resources to really be able to do it by the looks of things.
The defensive castle was so weird to me.
I know.
Was he really being pressured that hard?
There was the single mangonel there, so I guess you could worry about it.
But he had an eagle coming in. There was no crossbows to really follow up with. Maybe he thought there was more plumes from the Max that were going to come raid. It just seems like a weird decision to put it there.
Man, the Max as well, just denying this gold here. It just makes things so difficult. Even that castle at the moment, denying the gold in the center as well for Liereyy. Lierey's just getting starved of resource right now.
Lierey's just idled near his main gold too. I think 1 more villager went down there, and he's just constantly idled in that TC. I'm going to look at his gold count. It's like in this situation, Liereyy probably wants to go up to Imperial faster because he's 1 TC, wants to push him back, but he just can't push him back. And Liereyy resigns. Max taking it 3-0 against Liereyy.
TheMax just read everything
What an insane
perfectly.
set, dude. I'm so hyped right now.
That's insane.
This is my third set that I've casted with Max, and this
He's
is the
just
best
playing
he's played.
so well.
It's hard not to fanboy. Like Liereyy had the right plays at the beginning of that game.
Yeah, he just locked down everything. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Both of those two last games, Liereyy had all the right plays.
Yeah.
TheMax was just like, it's fine, I'll just do my thing. And he did, and look at this, gold collected, more, stone collected, pretty much the same, wood, food. TheMax was on the back foot, yet he managed to boom up into this somehow, and he's just been absolutely
That was
stunning.
just like the sickest example of map awareness, like situational map awareness from TheMax. Where to
That's
go,
just
how to
insane.
secure your base, where to put pressure on Liereyy. You know, like he put enough pressure in the middle that Liereyy overcommitted with like guard tower and building too many of them. He didn't have the stone for the castle, and then Liereyy just couldn't push him back. It was crazy.
Full masterclass, like masterclass on exactly where you should be putting your resources, how you should be doing it.
Two
and-
quick ones too. Two quick
Yeah.
ones after that first game.
Oh, wow. Max, that's just stunning. Amazing effort from him as well.
Look at the Finnish guys going nuts in the chat.
Look, they earned this one. The Max played
Nani,
those all
Nani.
so well.
All right, let's look at the statistics here. We had, units killed. Not too much of a difference at all.
Yeah, buildings raised about the same as well. But
The
look at the
economy.
largest army count,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
That's the big thing. The Max was just out there getting things done.
Yeah, and the economy is where we're going to see the biggest difference. Like that wood collected, the gold collected, and you know where most of that gold was? It was on the
it's-
other side of the map. It was near Lierey's base.
It just
Oh,
shows
my
you
goodness.
again how important all of that scouting is as well. Because if Liereyy had found that, it was like, oh no, he's over here. He could put out some kind of pressure. All it takes is a couple of eagles, get over there, and it just denies it straight away.
Yeah, that was sick. That was so sick. Feudal Age times faster for Liereyy. Castle Age very, very similar. And of course, the Villager High advantage for Max. Crazy, crazy set. Completely unexpected sets.
Oh, that's
Liereyy going
fantastic.
down 3-0. 3-0 against Max. And, you know, Liereyy had his moments too. The first game he played amazing. He played absolutely amazing. The second game, the beginning of the game, he played amazing. And then just one little slip up.
Somewhere,
and
he just lost it, and Max
Yeah.
managed to just grab it and take control.
All right, I'm going to go for the interview.
Go for it. I'll stay here and
Thank
hang out
you
with chat
the
for a
cast.
minute.
Guys, enjoy.
All right, guys, what do we think of that? Is that what we expected in the chat? A 3-0 for the Max? I know a lot of people were thinking 3-2, maybe even 3-1 towards Liereyy, but man, the Max earned every single one of those games. He came back from some of the most ridiculous situations, and he just showed exactly how good he is when it comes to map control and applying all of his pressure in the right places, building behind it. But that's huge. Well done to the Max there. We've got Dave heading over into the other room, so he'll be up for an interview in a minute there with the Max. So I don't even know what to say about this one, guys. This was fantastic. But it looks like we're jumping over to the interview now, guys. We'll see you in 1 second. Next up, we do have TaToH versus TheViper.
TheMax, congratulations on a 3-0 win against Liereyy. Did you expect that?
No, not at all.
No? What were you thinking going into this set? What were you thinking score-wise?
I thought he would win like 3-1 or
You thought he would
3-2.
win? Look at what you just did. That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, let's head it right into the first game. It was a super, super long game. What was your game plan from the start?
I wanted to go fast scouts with persons and use the eco bonus that they get. I wasn't expecting Hans. I was more like expecting Mayans, but that worked pretty well.
And then later into the game, obviously you teched into those crossbows that only cost wood. So what was your thought when he was pressuring you so hard down the middle and he had so many cav archers? Were you worried?
I was worried until I got my 2 castles up. Then my eco was pretty safe. So then I could just wait until I get enough mass.
Do you get tired in games like that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that was a longer break than between game 2 and game 3. Yeah,
yeah.
you got to grab a glass of water.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to start a new game after that one.
So going into game 2, you were really far behind on that valley. He lamed your boar.
Yeah.
And then take me through that game after he lamed your boar.
I wanted to compensate with luring more deer from the middle, and also I delay my blacksmith a lot. I was pretty sure he was going main at arms, so I wanted to wall my resource and just go fast archers to counter it, since if I went man at arms, I would have been so much behind that he would have just outmatched me and I would have died. So that worked pretty well.
And then obviously the market into the eagle spam.
Yeah.
And you got some amazing raids on him as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, he had some nasty holes that really helped me.
Yeah, we noticed. So into game 3, how are you feeling? Were you feeling confident or a bit nervous or?
Yeah, I was really confident. I was already happy that I had 2 wins under my belt. Then I saw that he was going main at arms, and I had a pretty safe map, so I felt pretty confident.
It was really cool to see you go for the extra gold too.
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
north.
yeah. I was like thinking that now that he is forward, I can sneak ranges behind his base, and he's in trouble.
So did you identify like the middle of the map obviously was really important to him because he didn't have any stone?
Yeah, I noticed that there were 3 piles of stone, so I wanted to take control of that later.
And then what was your game plan after you had the sneak archers out and he saw that? Did you want to put on more pressure, or obviously what ended up happening was you just boomed, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to raid with archers and delay his eco and farm so that I could get to castle edge with better eco and take advantage from that point.
Okay. And then the castle that he placed, were you expecting that like in the middle of the map?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that he would place it and like at his TC. I would expect him more forward or at the stones.
Okay. So, I mean...
But yeah, he was probably afraid that I'm going to add more mangonels and...
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the set?
Yeah, I'm really happy with the result. I wasn't expecting that.
You should smile more then. You're probably still like this from the first game.
Yeah.
How are you feeling going forward?
Yeah. I think I have now pretty good chances to qualify and go forward.
You think you can win?
Let's see.
Yeah. You took 3-0 from Liereyy.
Yeah.
You can win, dude. I believe in you.
Thanks.
Dude. Congratulations.
Thanks.